So the Get Up Show is right here, back in action for this week. It's quite an interesting week, especially when we talk about the sports world, both on the local front, on the international scene. There is a lot that is happening in the World Cup and a lot of stories concerning African teams as well. So today on the Get Up Show, we'll slightly squeeze in some stories around that. And of course, we'll be able to have some conversation concerning African teams and their performance in terms of the World Cup in itself. And of course, the playoffs back home, interesting games did take place. And of course, by now we know which teams have qualified to the National Division 1 come next season. But there is a lot in terms of conversation as well running up to next season. And we'll be looking into that as well. And some transfer news. Some teams have failed to hold on to certain players. One of the big names is Moses Schumer, and of course Masanyinga as well. So we'll be looking up to what Nkana is bringing in, and many other Zambian Premier League teams as well, and elsewhere where Zambian trade is concerned, especially where football is concerned. So welcome on board if you're just joining in, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, whatever you are involved in. It is the Get Up Show where you get to have conversations to do with Zambian football and relatable, of course, conversations as well. My name is Moses Impundu. I do have the team ready to digest and to bring in their thoughts. But as well, you can always come in and share your thoughts. We'll be more than glad to hear from you and, of course, learn about what is happening around your team, no matter the color of your football jersey. Here, it's conversations, banter, and, of course, laughter, and just getting the best in conversation as well. So, I do have the gents ready. King is right here, or I should say, James is right here, and of course, Amelius and Evaristo as well. Let me start with Evaristo. Evaristo, welcome to the Get Up Show. How has been your week? And of course, how do you just um, tell us how it has been with you coming down to this weekend?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. This week has been a very busy week in terms of myself getting to watch football. One of the positives is the World Cup, like the performance. I've been tracking down the performance from the African teams. It's good to see how other nations have progressed, which gives hopes to us that nice at Kayako Nzelu. If Cape Verde can qualify to the World Cup and makes it into the second round, we can also do it if we just put our pieces together. So the international scene have been much focusing on the World Cup. Then I was supposed to travel to go and to Lusaka to go and watch the playoffs. Unfortunately, due to some family commitments, I couldn't manage. But I was just getting the feeds from my brother Bwezani. So and I'm very happy to see Mikalide FC from Chipata qualifying to the National League. Positive result, and this is good news for the people of Eastern Province. At least now we have two representatives, Kumava. We want to see more teams from that side to be playing in the national division, so Goro can carry on a Super League team from the eastern side. So yeah, that's how my weekend has been. It's been World Cup, and I've just been following the playoffs and some transfer news concerning the Z League. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Evaristo there. And of course, let's bring in Milias. Milias, good morning. Welcome to the Get Up Show. How's been your week?
Thanks, Moses. It's always a pleasure to be here. My week has been good, full of football. I got a chance to watch the playoffs. Good football, I must say. I was impressed with the competition. Apart from that, I've been glued to the World Cup. I must also say that I'm proud of the African teams. I think 7 out of the 10 have qualified to the second round. We still have actually eight, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So we still have Congo and Algeria with a slim chance of making it to the second round. So proud of Africa. proud of Cape Verde. Apart from football, it has been a busy week, work, school. Yeah, but I'm glad I'm here. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Milias there. And of course, the king of African football, Sports TV. We are talking about James. Welcome to the Get Up Show. How's been your week? It seems we can't get hold of King. King, welcome to the Get Up Show.
King
Okay,
has disappeared.
King has disappeared there, but of course you will be able to find us rolling, especially when we talk about these conversations themselves. Expectedly, we should be joined in by Bwezani as well to shed more light concerning the playoffs that just took place right, of course, in Lusaka, and could be one of the rarest. We have teams now at least representing Eastern Province in National Division 1, Mikalile being the latest team joining, of course, the Zambia National Division 1. That's the Zambia Premier League National Division 1. So a lot of conversation as well in the women's side. We had the Power Queens and, of course, many other teams. Played forward as well is just one of those teams. Forest Mioe and, of course, Mathcat as well is one of the teams that had a chance to make it to the National Division 1 come next season. So in the interest of conversations, I know, Milias, you were hands-on, you followed, of course, the playoffs themselves with a keen heart. Just run us down to, of course, what transpired and just your thoughts overall in performance of these teams. We can see right on the screen, Forest Mioe played forward, Nampundwe, Mika or Mikalile, and Mathcat. Of course, there, I think they still stand a chance to play in, of course, the National Division 1. Solwezi Mshtala versus River Plate. It's another playoff. So Solwezi Mshtala qualified to play the playoff against River Plate. Now, River Plate were supposed to be relegated, but instead of just being relegated, a playoff has been instituted against Solwezi Mushtala altogether. Milias, over to you before we bring in Evalisto. I know Bwezani should be joining in as well to shed more light concerning the playoffs themselves.
All right, thanks, Moses. I think for starters, I must say I was impressed with the competition. I think the boys brought their A game. Most of these sides played the preliminary ups around, so it was there was good competition. I was honestly impressed. So yeah, it was. I really enjoyed the playoffs. Coming to the games, I think no, I think Forest Mioe were the strongest. They only drew once, so they've got a good project, and can't wait to see what they'll bring. But I was impressed with the way they played, and with everything they brought. Played forward as well. Played forward, had a good run, and I'm glad they made it. I think they also have a good project. Coming to Nampundwe, this is a team that impressed me the most. One draw. They've got a good side. This is a team that is, I'd say, well sponsored, and I'm sure they'll make it to the Premier League. I don't see them staying a long time in the National League. because just looking at them, looking at their project, looking at their players and everything, you can tell that there's something going on. Even just looking at the bus they came with, serious business. They came with a Marco Polo, so that already tells you that their sponsorship is on point. Even if you look at the stature of their players, you could tell that these are people that are been well paid. So I was impressed with Nampundwe, impressed with game intensity and everything. So I'm certain they'll make it to the Premier League. Mika, the boys from the East, I'm told they're also called the Rich Boys. Well sponsored by Mikadile. Had the shaky start at some point. I thought they wouldn't make it, but towards the end, they gained momentum and managed to beat Zambezi Portland, got 6 points, and they made it to the National League. So it's good to see two teams from the East compete in the National League. Back in the days, we had Sparta United, Sparta Seganso, but now we've got a different case with Mikalile. So I'm hoping, one thing about teams from Sparta is struggle with sponsorship. They really struggle a lot. So I'm hoping with Mikalile it won't be the case. They were sponsored, but I hope the sponsor won't grow weary, as the journey becomes tough. Because if you can recall, Sparta United really struggled the other season. At some point, they were stuck in Solwezi for some days. So that's something that we don't. That's something that we don't want to see going forward. Yeah. Mad Cats also had a very good. They also had a very good going. They started well, but in the last game they lost to Pundwe by a goal to nil. So there was a scare that they wouldn't make it, but luckily they are here. So against Nampundwe, they got a red card. They were frustrated. A bit of complaints from the team. The complaints were that the first yellow card was soft. Second yellow card was, from them was also soft. So they felt hard done, with the red card. So I'm happy that they managed to make it. This is a team straight from the heart of Mansa. So it's also good to see a team come from Mansa. So now they only have a small hard door to face. That's River Plate. So we have to see if they'll manage to beat River Plate. But from what I've seen, they've got a good project, and I don't think. No, sorry, Mad Cat qualified because they finished number 5, so they don't have to play River Plate. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Yeah. Lastly, Solwezi Mushtala finishing number 6, so that they have to play River Plate in the playoffs. So this would be, I don't know, Makula Derby. I don't think this game was even necessary. But yeah, we are here. We need to adapt the final spot, so it will be Solwezi Mushtala versus River Plate. I honestly don't think River Plate will have a problem beating Solwezi. The other season, not the end of the season, the other season, River Plate did well. So I don't know what happened to their project. So I'm hoping they survive. But overall, Moses, in conclusion, it was a well-organized tournament. I was really impressed. I don't think we had a lot of issues. There's only one issue that arose between the game between Mika and Nakonde. So I'm told Nakonde used 2 eligible players. So there was a case that went to the disciplinary committee. So I don't even know if that case was if the disciplinary committee looked at that case, because After Mika lost to Nampundwe, they were on 3 points, so they appealed. I don't know how that case went. I need to find out. But after they beat Zambezi Portland, they did not need the extra 3 points. So I don't know if that case was even followed up. But yeah, that's the only sad incident that happened. The two eligible players from Nakonde. I mean, it gives me a lot of questions. Yeah, especially from fans, like the people that were doing the screening. How did they allow Nakonde to have two eligible players, or why should there be such concerns if screening was done? So that was the only
Medias, are you still there? So the Get Up show it is, and of course, we seem to have lost Milias there. Let me bring you in, Evaristo. Are you able to get me? Evaristo, are you able to get me?
Hello? Yes, James. Yes. I'm able to get you now.
Okay, we seem to have lost Milias. Talking about the playoffs themselves, Forest Mioye played forward. Forest Mioye, Central Province, and
Yes.
of course played forward. Southern Province, Nampundwe, Central Mika, Chipata, and Cat, obviously coming all the way from, is it Luapula? These teams have made it to the National Division 1. So Luis Mushtala will have a playoff against River Plate to solidify a space for either of a team. River Plate finished bottom, and they were supposed to be relegated rather. Now, with these teams making it, what's your thought in terms of the playoffs going into National Division 1?
I think the playoffs were okay. And what I can just maybe urge these teams that have won promotion into the national, they can take a leaf from Ron United and McKinney All Stars. These are the teams that passed. Banapita na beve ma playoffs, but look where they are, the guys now. So I think it shows that we seem to have a bit of the teams that are coming from the national. They are not coming here to play. They are not going national Division 1 to play. They are going there to compete. And like we've seen the way Ron United and McCain Osters, they passed through the playoffs, but right now we're talking a different story. They'll be playing into the Super League. So to them, they just have to be prepared. This is the time to make sure that they put their documents all together, make sure that they don't have signings, players. There's no management conflicts, marangos, because this has been a very big challenge in National League. You'd find that Manatesa player who says actually register. So this is the time for them to put their house in order and to my sponsorship, try and make sure that everything is in place. Otherwise, the teams that have qualified to the National League, very competitive teams. When you look at Nampundu, solid side. Talk about Mikalide, another good side. So it shows that we're getting there somewhere. So I'm a team chair. I'm only hoping that they just have to prepare for the National League. Otherwise, these are solid sides that we can see them Vangaende now they can even win promotion to the Super League, just like we saw what Ron United and the other team did. So it was a very good competitive, and I like the format. I like the format. Iyi chance y'abapasa manje aba bakusolwezi zitwa mushitala which are going to play Liver Plate. I think Bwezan had explained about this. Had explained about the format, saying that no, the other team has to play one of the teams from the National League, which was it's a good idea. For you to be up there, sometimes you have to prove that you deserve to be up there. Otherwise, my playoffs, I was only seeing the updates, never watched much of them. But I've been following the Division One, provincial Division Ones. I know this side. Nampundo is a good side. Watch them in the APSA. I've been a fan of Mikalide. I've been following the journey of Mikalide in Eastern Province. So yeah, these are solid teams that are going there to compete. They are not just going there to add up numbers. No, it's good to see that most of the teams that are national Division One provincials are kind of national league. They are competing. So yeah, that's my take on the Pali Kanyama issue ama playoffs.
Okay, thank you so much, Evaristo. Let's see if we can have King right about now. King, are you able to get me? We seem to have lost King for a moment. And of course, if you are just joining in, it is the Get Up Show where we get to have conversations to do with Zambian football. And just recently, the National Division 1 playoffs 2026 were up and running. And if your team made it, then it should be among the 5 that you are seeing and are waiting to see Solwezi Mushitala versus River Plate as well. So Forest Mioe, 10 points and played forward, 8 points. And Nampundwe there, 10 points. And of course, Mika, 6 points. Mathcat, 6 points there. Now, this is quite interesting, especially when we talk about teams by qualification. Forest Mioe was part of the APSA Cup, and of course, they were, of course, a force to reckon with, especially where we talk about Central Province, and qualifying with 10 points just signifies that they are really a good side, and they have forced things into a much competitive league when we talk about the Zambia National Division 1, and played forward a team that forced their way as well in terms of the APSA Cup. And per se, I like how these teams have been trading their players. They have a great deal with relationship, and of course, players that are tested a great deal of Zambian football. Some of these players have played already in the National Division 1, and it's not by default or surprise that they have managed to qualify in such a way, as well as Nampundwe. I've heard you guys talk about Nampundwe. They are a well-sponsored team. They are among the top sponsored teams, and with the sponsorship that they have, they're a team that deserves to be playing in the Zambian Premier League. And to see them qualify with 10 points, it is a massive, of course, signal that they should have a good run in terms of the Zambia National Division 1. Mika, I like this team in the sense that they fought their way as well, and great competition, especially when we talk about Eastern Province. There has been a rise in terms of how teams perform from Eastern Province, and to win it all overall and qualify to the National Division 1, of course, league, it simply means a lot for Mika as well. For Mathcat, a team that had some doubts, and I should say congratulations to Nora because they have finally made it. There was huge doubts that they are going to make it with how the playoffs looked like and how teams were looking like. But by qualification as per province, one of the best qualifying teams, and they had a great run in terms of the goal scoring as well as the point tallying. So they really deserved to have a spot in National Division 1, and finally they made it as well. A quite spread coming in for National Division 1 come next season, because now it seems teams will have to make a good number of trips to Chipata, a good number of trips as well to Mansa, And if at all Solwezi Mushtala makes it, then a good number of trips to Solwezi as well. But River Plate have a chance. Initially, they were relegated, but Bwezani did make some emphasis and explanation around how they found themselves to be, of course, in this situation. So they have a chance to convince that they are not the worst losers, but the best loser, and they deserve to have a spot in National Division One come next season or together. So this is how it looks like, and of course, great play, and of course, let's see what happens with these teams come, of course, National Division One football next season. And before then, we should have, of course, the league that takes up to the season, maybe come next September as well. So, Musman, good morning. Welcome to the Get Up Show. You are just right on time. Though you are late, Musman, welcome to the Get Up Show. I guess he has disappeared again. But of course, it's good to know that you are part and parcel. I did see some messages coming in, and of course, it's awesome to always hear from you and know how things are happening with you as well. Albert, Mathcat FC is from Mansa, Luapula province, and of course, yes, indeed, they are from Mansa, and they have made it to National Division One. Enoch, congratulations to Team Mika. Should be very happy. That's Enoch MC Kumwenda there as well. Davis says, Bwezan with Zambian football, please don't delete this video. I want to watch it up and I end up with church. Very important, Davis. I'm sure you're going to still find this video right on the platform and you will be able to listen or even get to share and comment. The conversation still continues. Musman, welcome to the Get Up Show.
Hey, thanks, big man. You already put me on fire. Just when I just joined already, I'm on fire. But anyway, thank you so much. And guys, apologies for being late. It's unlike me. Um, Actually, Medias gave me a call, and that's when I woke up. I was like, no, it's all right. No, but apologies again for being late.
Yeah. You are right on it, and we are just deep into the conversations to do with the National Division 1 playoffs 2026. Obviously, you can see the banner there. Forest Mioya played forward, Nampundwe, Mika, and Mathcat. There is a playoff that should obviously come fourth, River Plate, and of course, Solwezi Mushtala. But your overall thought concerning the 2026 National Division 1 playoffs are themselves, Musman?
Look, for me, it's made the best team win. I really don't have any preference or anyone who can come in. I'm just a bit concerned with some of the names that we have, especially when you name a club played forward. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, we can only we can only hope that whoever makes it. And Nampundu has come with a lot of noise. People saying, hey, KCM are sponsoring them. They've come with a lot of noise. But whoever makes it. So I won't lie and say I've followed the playoffs like that. No, I haven't followed them. I'll just wait for the teams to be announced to say, hey, these are the guys coming in, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, that's Boostman there. And of course, King, are you able to get me now? Okay, it seems it's so quiet with King. But on the other side, we did have, of course, the women up and running as well in search to see that they make their qualification. Milias, do we have anything? There has been a whole lot of noise. I wish Aaron was here because there were suggestions that Power Queens should have at least a playoff, or rather a friendly match with Luyando Foundation. before they travel back to the Copper Belt. But it has been an interesting run. Milias, do we have something concerning the women's playoffs?
Not yet. So Aaron says he's going to join. James, for some reason, has gone quiet. So maybe the two specialists, we can go back to the women's when the two guys join. But for now, there's nothing. But with your, I think, can I just say one last thing?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So I heard you speak about distance in the National League. I think maybe just to echo my sentiments on that.
Yeah.
I think the National League is the most expensive league we have in the country, and unfortunately, it is not pro funded. What do I say? It's the most expensive. We've got teams moving from Chipata to Mansa. Chipata to Solwezi. The distance is just too much. If Nakonde had made it, would have had teams moving from Chipata to Nakonde. And these teams run on a low budget. So I think in future, I'd urge FAS, the councillors. I mean, we call them the football owners, to reconsider the structures. Let's go back to when we had when we had Division 1 divided in three. We had Division 1 North, Division 1 South, and we had Division 1 Midlands back then in the days. I think it will really cushion these teams, because at this rate we might have issues like the ones we had last season, where Mpulungu Hub just couldn't finish the season. At some point they had to drop. The other season we had issues with Chipata United. So I think breaking the National League in two would help. National Division 1 South, Division 1 North, I think it would help. But most of these clubs run on very minimal budgets, because they're sponsored. Most of these clubs are sponsored by individuals. So if you look at Forest Mioye, Matcat, and the like, so I think breaking the National League into three would help the teams in future. So I think this is something maybe the football owners should consider. Otherwise, the National League is very much expensive. Moses, and anyway, all the best to the teams that have qualified. But hopefully one day we just break it in 2 or 3, because I mean we don't have much resources.
Can I disagree with you? Because at the
please.
end of the day,
it's a free world.
You make it come out that Zambia is as big as Nigeria, or we're not that big. At the end of the day, if you start a football team, if you have a football team, at the end of the day, you should be able to have the resources. We can't be talking about resources. Then don't play football. You might as well just park the bus and just leave it there and then don't play anymore. So you can't be telling me that, no, it's too far to go to Mansa. No, it's not. It's 2026. You're talking as though we're in 1995. No, it's 2026. If a team is registered and they are there, they should be able to go. This is why I argued with your guy who came on Mines United. If you're unable to play players, then don't start a football team. Simple. It's just simple like that. So we can't be talking about distances, because Zambia is not as big as it's not a big. It's not a big place. Chipata is just there. 4 hours away. You can fly if you want. Charter your guys. Simple. So don't have a football team if you don't have the finances. That's all I'm going to say.
That's a valid point, but again, we need to look at the money that clubs get in the National League. Not even as good as the Premier League. So we need to put that into consideration. But even your point is valid.
No, but let's put it this way then. In South Africa, they spend more money traveling to play Champions League than they have to win the league. The money you're winning the league is less than what they spend the all the travels with Champions League and whatnot. So that's why I'm saying finances should never be an issue. Yes, of course, money should be increased in Division One and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you have a team, make sure you have the finances. It's just supposed to be like that, simple and straightforward. And if you want to bring in FAS and things like that, then you should say, hey, FAS, at the end of the day, don't allow teams that don't have finances to be playing football. It should be a
Yeah,
standard, a structure.
that's a good point.
Okay, so it's a very interesting conversation when we talk about football and its dynamics. Now, um, when we bring in distance and we bring in a football team, my question all the time is, what opportunities is a football team putting in place so that they will be able to fit in these dynamics? And if you qualify, let's say, to National Division 1, you know what is in place for National Division 1 football to take place. One of them is distance. You have to cover that distance. You have to, of course, book hotels. You have to have transport. All those things have to be put in place. And by the end of the day, these are not responsibilities in any way of the Football Association of Zambia or even the ZPL, because they have already created that platform. In Zambian football, I think teams need to start to create their own opportunities, to create their own financial base, their own financial muscle. They have to stretch a little bit, because in football, anywhere around the world, what you spend is more than what you are going to win by the end of the day. So, what matters the most is the opportunities that are going to bring you the finances. Like Musman has said, if you're going to play a CAF Champions League, you spend more than what you're going to win in the league. But if you're going to play your cards right, you're going to have your profits by the end of the day. So the club administrators, it's not just about qualifying, but it's about creating opportunities within the team so that it has the muscle to be able to cover whatever cost, to be able to cover whatever distance, to be able to pay the players, to be able to do the necessary things that are supposed to be around the teams. Those are what are called opportunities. But it's very difficult for most of the teams in Zambia because there is less that has been created and run within the vision. What do you want to achieve in the next 10 to 15 years? Because football, the mid-term is known to be 3 to 7 years, and 7 years to maybe 15 years, that's a long term. So within that period, what are you supposed to do in order to achieve what you want to do? So teams have qualified, and this is where we see teams go and come back. Why? They have not created those opportunities, and expect the Football Association of Zambia and the ZPL that has created the platform for you to create those opportunities for you, and you want them to create the financial muscle. It doesn't work like that. Anywhere around the world, yes, even them, they'll have to create opportunities for teams to thrive. The environment has to be conducive, but this is a very, very important consideration that teams need to consider going into the Zambian National Division 1. Even if a sponsor was to come today, then it is not going to be enough for all teams to be catered for without them putting in what they can by the end of the day. Let teams start thinking in those lines. And for the Football Association of Zambia, they need to make this league lucrative, because it is our league. It is our baby. This is what grooms the Zambian Premier League. They need to start making this league lucrative, to make it more competitive, to give it what it needs, the enhancement, so that the environment should even evoke these teams not to get out of this league, but to fight for their sport, even if not they're making it to national, rather to the Zambian Premier League. That's their responsibility and that's their job. So we should not swap responsibilities. And it's a serious conversation. Milias, you have done well to touch it, and Musman as well. Very serious, and teams need to fall in, need to give in the best that they can. So the there is no way. If it's to fly players, let them fly players. If anything that is done to make a team to give opportunity, I always say, let teams structure their operations. Let the team be structured. Let it be their house should be put in order. There are few teams in Zambia that have done that. And just even by play, you will tell that, oh, this team is struggling in this way. But even companies themselves are going to no one but you who is running the team. So presidents, CEOs, administrators, that's their job. They need to obviously think in those lines. And we shall not continue to run our football under a social corporate responsibility, because in that nature, you're not going to make any money in football. So very important conversation. Let's see if we can have Bwezani. I saw Bwezani somewhere, but Kelvin, Chela, capacity building needed to nurture teams in the provinces. One good observation as well. That is good. And of course, let's hope it's going to be done. Bwezani, welcome to the Get Up Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
You are very low. If you can improve your volume.
What about now?
At least much better.
What about now?
Much better. Now you are much better, and you can go ahead.
Okay.
Yo. No, we can hear you, Bwezan. Even in the background, we can hear who was talking.
So, Blessed Everywhere Media. Bwezani,
Yeah, I'm
Zambia
failing
football.
I'm failing to get.
Are you able to get us?
He's probably in Eastern Province. You see, when he's in Wapula and thing, there's no network issues. He's probably in Eastern Province.
No, I'm not in Eastern Province. Okay, but I think I can get Musman now. Here is the thing, and I agree with what Musman has said, but the onus is on the association to make the National League viable, to also be of assistance to the owners of the clubs. Okay, because honestly, yes, it is a very expensive league. That one is well known. They need to. There's seriously need for them to find a serious sponsor. You understand? As much as we are calling for people to have money, to bring in to bring into their teams, the league has to be organized. There's always that motivations for the people that sponsor these teams, okay, to fight and say, guys, let's win this. Okay, if you ask me how much are they winning, you realize you win the National League, you have 100,000. Understand what I mean? So, yeah, football is a very expensive sport to run, and it needs a bit of motivation as well. Okay, for instance, you play for the whole, is it 34 games? Okay, I want you to factor in the money you pay for the referees, everything, your players, the what, and then you need to have something as well. Okay, a number of initiatives, of course, which a football team should be engaged in, and this is one of the biggest weaknesses in Zambia. Most of it circled or centered around the sponsors. You understand? So I want sponsors. I personally, I want excos rather to seriously think outside the box. Okay, how else should a club make money to sustain themselves? But back to the National Division 1, I think they were well handled this time around. One thing that I liked about this year's playoffs is there was only one case. You know, this is big growth. There was only one case reported. That was Mika reporting Rio Nakonde that they had used an ineligible player. One case, okay, in both groups. And this was one of the biggest challenges I think that we had until last season, when we saw teams being docked out points. We've not had that. So on that one, would say seriously big kudos to the teams for understanding what really the playoffs are all about. It's not a matter of life and death. You don't go and recruit your relatives. You hear that a relative plays football and then you bring them on board. No, I think this was well done and perfect.
I've got a question. I've got a question. Sorry to cut you. I've got a question. Yeah, concerning the eligible players. First question was the case settled, and what was the verdict? Then secondly, how do we have such cases when screening is done? Are these players not screened before the game? Like, how do we have not so many loopholes? They've reduced, but how do we have this loophole now? Because I'm failing to understand how there's a breakdown. I don't know if you get my question, because I've been trying to think and I can't seem to understand where the problem is coming from. If these players have been screened, are they using fake NRCs? Are they imposters? Is someone just not doing their job when it comes to screening? Like, how do we get there? I'm failing to understand.
Yeah, good question. Look, apparently, what has been happening was most of those loopholes were well done this time around. Okay, but then the most common thing was in the register, the first register, the names won't change. You understand? It's crookedness, and actually, if we are to be serious, it's a crime that these people should be arrested. You understand what I mean? Because nothing changes in the names, but you come and, for instance, Get Up Football Club has registered the Milias. Okay, so I get the identity of Milias and line up. You understand? And line up. So I find it difficult to blame the association. It's actually the members of the teams, the ex-scores. You understand? Who is going to get Milias in the place of Bwezani to play for their team at that point in time? You understand? So the people now come to realize it because the players know each other. You understand? I was shocked. I went to watch the Mathcat game versus Nampundwe. By the way, Nampundwe plays very good football. Very, very good football. I went to watch that game. Then before the game is played, you'll be shocked how the Mathcat players know the Nampundwe players very well. Did you see that? Yeah. Where they are saying, I don't know why the coach has left us on the starting lineup. But the body is tired, Bwana. 3 games continuously. So it's the players themselves that know themselves very well now, and that is helping now. You understand? In the past, when you talk about the playoffs from Eastern, from Luapula, players never knew each other. But there's been a lot of exchange now. The development of football in Zambia is actually very clear now. So you are able to say this is what is actually going on. So that is what is happening now. So that's the reason you are seeing a reduction in it. One case in these playoffs, and the case was almost similar again to what has been happening. If the case has been dealt with, I'm not very sure, but now it doesn't even matter, because even if you give the 3 points, the same teams that are in the top 2 in Group B, that is Mikalila and Nampundwe, we will still make it. Okay, so I don't know if it has been done, but I wish on record they will just pass it on, because nothing is going to change. Rio Nakonde can still be gotten rid of the 3 points that they got. It will still be Mika, Nampundwe, and of course Mathcat in that group. So That is what has been happening around that case. So interestingly, I had the issues of traveling. Eastern Province has actually gained one more slot. So it is 2 trips to Eastern Province. The most interesting trip now is the Mathcat one in Mansa. Sunday, tomorrow, 10 hours. The last playoff between Solwezi Mushtala and River Plate will be very interesting. I think it will be at Queensmead at 10 hours. I know people are still against this playoff thing, but look, if you want to play in the national division, people should understand that this is the second tier league. You understand? You are actually being prepared for the Super League. Okay, you need to be tested. Actually, if everything was well, even the best 50th placed team which went to Mathcat, that place was supposed to also go to playoffs. We need teams that are serious, teams that are able to undergo this pressure, because this is now football, very different from provincial football. Yeah, so that would be my take. Finally, I want to also agree with what Musman said earlier. This is a game of money. Yeah, you understand. If you do some comparisons, you will realize what you spend in a season is too much than what you actually get at the end of the season. The only call that we are making, some of us, to the Football Association of Zambia, the Zambian Premier League, it's their work. They will need to find sponsors for this tournament. They will have to. They do not have a choice. You understand? A playoff, it's a very big tournament. You want to look at it, why are they failing to brand it? You understand? It looks like a tournament, a school tournament, or where I stay, a Chikumbi tournament. You understand? So it's even the choice of the pitches. You understand what I mean? So you are preparing a team to break into the national division. Take them to Sunset. Take them to Nkoloma. Take them to a better pitch. The Millers, yes, they've been very helpful for a long time, but I think we need to improve. We will need to brand these tournaments. We will need to find the sponsors to just make sure that a playoff takes a lot of meaning. I'll tell you, as early as this morning, there are teams that are going back. They do not have fuel. You understand? They have to start calling their relatives, Stizafika. So these are the things that we need to improve as a nation. Okay, I know Musman will come up to say, no, it's not the association. It's the teams. They need to what. No, that tournament needs sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mbewe. And well spoken there, and great observations. Musman, you have anything to say?
I think I've said everything I needed to say. I still stand with, of course, saying I do understand Mbwezani when he says, there needs to be certain things that are put in place. But at the end of the day, look, I still don't hold it on the association. I hold it on individual teams. If you're going to be part of the tournament, I still say the same. I mean, I hate referring to the United Kingdom or England or whatever. Those guys that go and play FA Cup, the money is small change, but they're still playing that cup, and they're still able to sustain themselves, and they're still able to travel and etc. So we can't be saying the association should be, also putting certain incentives. Yes, our league is not the greatest. It's not one of them, but at the end of the day, I still stand by saying, if you are a football team and you're a registered football team, simple, have the money and do it. In terms of, illegalities and whatnot, it's amazing to me that we are saying that, we've only got one case this season we should praise. That should never be a case. Never be a case to say, we should praise, we should be excited that we've only had one case this season. That should never be a case. That should never be an issue at any given point. So that's where the association comes in. And that's where now they need to put in certain measures to say, look, this is how we are running football and this is how we're running football. The association has already got rules and regulations. So if certain teams do not abide by those rules and regulations to say, okay, Mirias is registered under Get Up Football Club and is Musiani playing on that day, things like that, yes, But now we need to now put in a mentality in Zambian football where we say we can't have a situation like this. So for us to say we're excited about having the one, just one case, is the one case is a case a bit too much. It should never happen at all in our. So these are things that I think the association needs to handle. We need to have people that are hands-on to actually sort out situations like this.
Okay, so as well, we had the Women's National League 2025-2026 playoffs, and interesting names: Young Green Buffaloes, and of course, our Power Dynamos Queens there in green, 7 points apiece. Bats Queens as well, Nangweshi Queens, that's Nangweshi Pirates Queens, and Sanfia Rockets there, right in a 5-grouped team, Group A there. And Pool 2, we had an interesting run as well, and one of the realists there would say an interesting time, especially as I'm in football and huge concentration was around the men, but the women as well were in action. Let's bring in Bwezani once again on this one. Bwezani, did you follow any of these playoffs, especially where women's football is concerned?
No, I didn't, because I think for the first 2 days I was actually not around, but
Now you're very low. You're very low.
Let me try to come back.
Yeah.
But he was still audible though.
Yeah, Moses, as we wait for Bwezani to come in. Yeah, I mean, we had a good game between Young GBFC and Power Dynamos. It actually ended in a draw. I think these were the two exciting teams going in the playoffs. I remember Power Dynamos went unbeaten in their provincial league. They did not lose any game. So they went to the playoffs, losing with so much confidence. So even in the playoffs, they did not lose a game. They drew against Green Buffaloes. They also drew against Bad Queens. So this is a team that's well drilled. This is a team that's actually well sponsored, and I actually don't see them staying long in the National League. I think their aim is to play Premier League football in the near future. So yeah, I was really impressed with Power Dynamo's Queens. We have Bwezani back.
Okay, Bwezani, you were saying something.
Yeah. So look, it's just development for me to have the women's league reach these heights, and I think everything around is happening. You need to be excited. We saw. Remember when Power Dynamos qualified to CAF? One of the conditions that CAF gave was that they needed to have a women's team. Okay, so they had to register a team, and see the progress. They wanted to buy off a team, but I think they were advised to follow the process. You can tell the development that is going on there. I did not go to watch any of the women's team. Aaron and King would definitely be in the right place, but it's just good. I did watch a team in preparation for this, which was the Sanfia Rockets. When I was in Sanfia, they were planning to come for the tournament. You can see the excitement that is with the girls. So we've just reached at that point that we will seriously need to start recognize women football. I know I we I think it's just a forcing matter where we are forced, like, okay, we also have to follow women's football. Yeah, me, I'll be honest with you. It's it's been very difficult. Okay. But to see the development happening so quick, and a playoff of such a nature happening, I just say, well, maybe we need to start looking at it and say it's not only Aaron and King. I don't know what they follow, but maybe we will need to also learn what they see in it.
But why do you say you don't know what they follow? They follow football, sir.
No, I totally agree. I'm saying it has taken so long for me to really be a follower of women football. You understand what I mean? So, but with the development that is going on, I say I'm not the only one, including my brother from South Africa. You understand? We find ourselves talking about it because it's happening now. So we have an opinion to make. So if you ask Musman today about this, he will say, I don't have a lot to say about this, but it's good. That's what we end up with.
Musman, is he
Mr.
right?
What do you have to say about women's football?
What do you have to say with that? Is it an accusation or?
That was my next statement, and you just taken the words out of my mouth. You don't do things like that. Let me talk first. Yeah.
Okay, so
No,
interesting. We do have a message here. Fian should be given an award for taking camera seriously. The guy doesn't hide his face. Christopher, there. Thank you so much, Christopher. Good to know that you are
yeah,
part of the show. And yeah, for sure, that's a great observation. Usman has always been on camera. Yeah. So he
exactly.
deserves an award.
At least he follows
Yeah.
the show because he knows very well. I take that very serious, and a lot of you guys on this show, you don't take it serious. Your cameras are never on. It's once in a while and things like that. And we have rules on this show to have our cameras on, but clearly we are not abiding by them. It just ends here, I guess. So I think from next week, Christopher, I'm going to motivate everyone that they have their videos. Bwezani does come with his video once in a while. Moses once in a while. Milias chikamungenela che, things like that. So, things like that. So at the end of the day, next week we're gonna have these rules and regulations where we're gonna implement them, where everyone has to have their video, or else we check them out. I'll get the admin rights. If it means me talking alone, I'll talk alone for 2 hours.
Okay, Christopher, thank you so much for that great observation. And Somsman has obviously given a directive that our camera should be on starting next week, and they will be on altogether. What you are seeing right now on screen is the playoffs of the Women's National Division 1 playoffs 2025-2026. And the Young Green Buffaloes, they are doing well, 10 points. Power Dynamos Queens, 8 points, and Bats Queens, 7 points. Nangweshi Pirates Queens, 3 points, and Sanfia Rockets, 0 points. And beneath, we do have Kumawa Stars, 9 points. That's a massive run, and of course, a great run in terms of National Division 1 as well. So the interest in Zambian football still grows each and every day. Regardless, now we are stretching to see that even women are having their playoffs. This is a massive development, and there is sense of growth in the right direction, especially where football is concerned. But thoughtfully, it is you to be part of the conversations and share in the best that you can. And we will be more than glad to hear from you and get to, of course, interact in areas that matter the most. Precious Zuma, Team Nampundwe, Mine boys, congratulations. Good to know that you are part of the show as well. And we do have Miambo Kapusa there, Mathcat United, FC Wabola. Great to know that you are part of the show as well. And of course, Mathcat have made it to National Division 1 all the way from Mansa. And we should say congratulations to the team as well. Get Up Show is right here for you and you and you. So you always be part of the conversations by sharing in your thoughts as well. So, gentlemen, in another interesting conversation, I don't know if there is anyone who would want to add one or two words concerning the women's playoff. If not, then we can move on and look at the Copper Queens WAFCON provisional squad as the coach, which is Coach Nora, called upon players that will be in camp. 1 month to go ahead of the WAFCON, and this has been serious conversations around, of course, the Zambia women's national soccer team. Evaristo has been really quiet. Let's start with you. The provisional squad has been called. 1 month to go to the WAFCON. What do you have to say with the squad that has been called right about now?
I think the squad is okay. It's a combination of the youth and the experienced players. You can see the Grace Chanders in there. You can see Helen is back, and you can see the youngsters, the Chipasulas. This youngster from Zescondola Girls who's been banging goals left, right, center. She's in the team, so it's a good squad. But I think what I'm looking forward for, especially at Pamanja Titasana 1 month, I don't know. I stand to be corrected. This is where Coach Nora is, because I expected Coach Nora to be on the ground. I don't know whether she's still in the country or she's still in Europe. But looking at the time frame, Madezi Asara Konyangon, we needed the coach to be on top of things. Hopefully, first can organize 2-3 friendlies so that at least we test our team and see Petafika. Otherwise, the team is just okay. If we take the preparation seriously and if the coach gets our tactics right at Chepa ground, I think we can do good. We can do good at AFCON because we have the squad. We have the squad that can pull us good results. It all just goes down to the preparation, how prepared we are, and this is where the coach plays a critical role in ensuring that the team is together. Africa coach alipo background. Otherwise, the team itself, good selection. That's my take.
Okay, so that's Evaristo there. And of course, looking at the names, the goalkeepers, Hezo Nali, Chishala Mufunte, Catherine Musonda, and Yunis Sakala there. We do have Mutale as well among the goalkeepers. And the defenders, Margaret Belemu, and we do have Rhoda Chileshe, Margaret Gondwe, Rachel Nachula, and we do have Memory Ntala, Blessings Balova, Zamara Mapepa, and not forgetting Salia Mwanza there, Lucio Momwemba, and Martha Tembo make it among the defenders. We do have the midfielders, Evelyn Susan Katongo and Natasha Nanyangwe, Blessings Zulu, and Helen Chanda there, and Ngosa Chabwe, that's the forwards, and NLS Piri, Penelope Mulubwa, Messi Chipasula, Avel Chitunju, and Iva there, and we do have Teresa Nayame there. It is quite a very local squad at the moment, and we do expect that the pros will be joining in later. And one of the things to think about and just to, of course, consider is that Zambia will be going into Algeria for a friendly match in that country later on. As for Coach Nora, she's not in the country. She is in Switzerland, and hopefully she'll be able to join later on to be with the team. So these are some of the concerns I know, gents, and a whole lot of course, fans will be reacting on. Before Milias, let's bring in Musman. and just hear what he has to say around this. Coach Nora, not in the country. Zambia preparing, going to the WAFCON 1 month apart. That's just many more days, 2 weeks or so. The team should be jetting off, and the preparation in Nigeria. All this in conversation, Musman. What do you have to say with the squad code and the, of course, relatable conversations themselves?
Look, for me, if we don't win AFCON, I've already been saying that Nora needs to go. She should have gone a long time ago. I'm looking at that back four, and I'm looking at it and saying, I'm sorry, except Nachula. Nachula was, I'll give Nora respect to say she's actually changed the team to actually make Nachula be a defender, and Nachula has actually excelled in the defensive role. But the rest of the team, when you look at Martha Tembo, Planga, Lushomo Mwimba, Planga, like the whole back four, Planga. So at the end of the day, this comes down to us as a country, as an association, not having people that are actually watching players that could actually play in the national team. So we yes, thank you, Martha Tembo, for your service. Thank you, Lushomo Mwimba, for your service. Thank you, Margaret Belemu, for your service. Unfortunately, you're at the point whereby Mons and Dimwema Planga. So now, if this is the team that's been chosen to represent us at WAFCON, if they don't win WAFCON, literally, it's back to the drawing board. And if we go back to the drawing board, we should have been at the drawing board with this same Nora girl that came through. We should have been at the drawing board to say, now we have people, now we have this one, now we have this one. I know Memo Intala could be new, but Memo Intala didn't even play a single friendly when we had the Four Nations tournament. So I can't even tell if she's good or not. I know King has been raving about her, saying how good she is and things like that. So for midfield, we overhype the likes of Everin. We overhype them. We make it come out that as though like she's some. Look, she's had a few good games. If someone can now pinpoint to me and tell me that she's actually bossed the midfield in all the games that we've played, I can only even remember 1 or 2 games. She's also another Planga that should be nowhere as well near the national team. Maybe a bench player to come in for someone that can do well. We rave a lot about these players after just 1 game, just like the way we raved about Nora after beating Ghana. We all were raving and saying, yeah, Nora should be the one. The style of play that she's doing, I was one of them too. But then you end up coming to realize that, it was just 1 game, Nora Naeveni Planga. Because she's been worse than Bruce, and I'm not a Bruce fan. I hate Bruce football, but she's been worse than Bruce, completely worse than Bruce. So now we're still having these players that we are overhyping. We're overhyping. We look at that midfield. Everin should look. Yes, she's gotten some stature now. She seems bigger. She can pass the ball. She's got those little attributes. But are those attributes enough to win us an AFCON? I don't think they're enough. I think there's a lot of players in Zambia that can do better. That can do better at any given point. But we always tend to just say, you know what, this one has got a hyped name. Maybe this one is even taking pictures with someone. So this one has taken a picture with Karusha Walia, or this one has taken a picture with Klins Kangwa. She should be in the national team. And if we get off that mentality, that's when our football develop. I don't see us winning AFCON. I don't even see us going to the semi-final. I think the whole back four, the midfield is very suspect. I think we've got a lot of Plangas that should have been fine-tuned and should have been changed.
Okay, so that's Musman there. Coming to you, Milias, your take on the Salmon players and just probably the Copper Queens.
Wazamba Naron Musman. Giramana Arun. Yeah, coming to the team. Well, I actually share the same sentiments with Musman. Alama's system needs a lot of changes. I mean, we haven't progressed over the years. We're still playing the same names, same people, and if you look at our football, it has been going down. Yeah, so that's where the problem is. So I'd have loved to see a lot of changes before we went to AFCON, but unfortunately, it's too late. And what makes it difficult is that our coach doesn't stay in the country. She only comes 2 weeks before a major tournament. Just after the last game, she flies back to Switzerland. So that's the reason why it has been difficult for her to integrate a lot of these youngsters in the team. So for me, Nora has been the worst that has happened to our football. She makes me miss Bruce Mwape. Yeah, so that's the reason why we haven't moved. Going to the team, I'm happy to see one new name from Elite Ladies, Winfrida. Hopefully, she's good. I'm sad to see Eunice Sakala back in the team. I remember, was it the last Olympics we played? She didn't do so well. So if we're to progress, why don't we try out new players? Why do we keep trying the same field project? Uh, Going to the defenders, Margaret Belemo. This is a girl that has reached the twilight of her career. Akula Mund. She has to retire. What more do you want to see? That's the reason why she's back in the country, because she's just not good anymore. She's not the Belemo we knew back in the days. Maya Ziakwana. So seeing her back in the team worries me, and hopefully she doesn't start. We've got Theo Machela. Nice to see new faces. Rhoda Chileshe, Margaret Gondwe. Obviously, this is my favorite. I don't know. I don't even know why she doesn't start. Yeah, Rachel Nachula. Well, she gives us something at the back. So yeah, Memory Intala. Yeah. Lisho Mwemba obviously is our star. I'm also happy to see Salia, the young lady from Elite Ladies. That's what we need. Young blood. Martha Tembo. Since this need to rest. And I'm happy this time they didn't call that other girl. The name has gone from Green Buffaloes, the short hair. These are supposed to be veterans. Give them coaching roles, give them something else. They've grown. We've seen them for the longest time. Midfield, Irving Katongo. Aina Komwana. Hopefully, as we go to AFCON, she should have reduced on the weight. I'm happy to see Helen Chanda. The energy she brings to the team is just top notch. Yeah. Going forward, looking at the forwards, I'm happy to see a lot of Zesco United, Zesco Ndola girls, women up front. Last season they did well. The other season they did well, and I'm happy that their dominance is now showing. They've got a lot of these players at the national team. Back in the days it was just Green Buffaloes. Now we've got Zesco Ndola girls coming up, and I'm happy. Seeing NL Spirit back in the team, that gives me so much joy. This is a girl that has got so much talent. I'm hoping the fame doesn't disturb her. I don't know what happened during the Four Nations tournament. She wasn't part of the team. Whatever confusions, I'm hoping they've been sorted. Message Pasula, the young darling of Zambian football. Yeah, hopefully she's matured a bit more and can deliver. So Aviot Tundazo, I'm happy she's back. This is a girl who's always left out by Bruce. I don't know why. I feel she's good, and I'm happy she's back. So overall, I must say I'm impressed with the team, impressed with the call-up. I'm just sad that our coach is not in the country. So who's calling these girls? Who's going to be making the team at WAFCON? So that's total confusion. So sad that Nora is taking us for a ride, and hopefully she can just resign on moral grounds. But otherwise, I'm happy with the provisional squad. Let's see what happens going forward. Yeah, and Aaron is here to get Musman. Yeah. My contribution, Moses. Huh?
Before Aaron comes in, I just want to know who pays for Nora to go back? Does she pay for her own ticket? I'm not privy to that information. Maybe Bozani could shed some light on how she flies back to her base and whatnot.
Yeah, I would want to know that too.
In,
But
in
Bozan
any
is Bozan has dropped.
in
Maybe Aaron.
in any contract, I think in this case the association has to ferry her back. The association has to bring her back in the country. They have to provide all the logistical support. This is in any case as per contract, because she's under contract and her dealings are subjected to what is contained in the contract at the moment. So it's to dance to what is in the contract, because in any way she might not have that power to say I want to go or I want to come, because if I thought it was herself to fund that, I don't think she'll be able to do that. But we do have a message here. Kambwele Emmanuel Mlenga: let Zambia build a strong team by bringing new players who are playing in Europe to blend them, especially at the back. We are doing same thing every tournament, but no result. Thank you so much to know that you are part of the show, the Get Up Show, and we do appreciate your, of course, a contribution. You can do the same as well, and we'll be more than glad to hear from you, especially on today's Get Up Show. Aaron is right here, and he has just joined on a very, very interesting time. Aaron, you are welcome. There is much that has been talked about the Copper Queens, but I know you have been following. Please, no attacks on Musman. Please give us what you have concerning the Copper Queens.
Aaron, before you come in, Musman enzo kamba mwana wako aishe mtimu kwa sababu kupisa mapicture na ndani na Kings Kangu. Otherwise hapo niko ngara mtimu ni kula.
It's like Medias. Medias, you knew something, not until you saw Aaron. Wambonena manje.
Well, a person that I like coach, yeah, most is like it's just most. It's leave him alone. He thinks Zanaco is the best team in the world, so yeah. His opinions don't carry much water, so it's just to leave him alone. Coming to the Copper Queens, I think mixed feelings from me. I feel like a number of players very good at their back. Eden Chanda, who's not been in the team, I think, since before the last WAFCON. She's missed out on a number of tournaments. She's back. She's now based in Saudi Arabia with Frames FC. Also, I think Enede Speed, who missed the last two FIFA outings, the FIFA series in Brazil, and of course the is it Four Nations tournament that we held in Ndola. Who else is back? Avel Chitundu is back. Good to see Ivan Ambe getting a call up. This is a girl who was banging in goals the season before last, and then she got injured. She returned last season. I think she needed only 2 games and 7 minutes into a game against Green Buffaloes. She scored a goal at Woodland Stadium. I remember I was there to watch that game. So to see they assess how good she is. Blessings Angose Zulu makes it in the team. Also, defender Thomachela from Tanaka also made it into the team. Of course, an interesting call-up of young goalkeeper, 14-year-old Winfrida Mtale from Elite Ladies. A very interesting character of that young girl, the under-15 first choice goalkeeper, and also part of the under-17 setup, gets it into the national team. Obviously, there are questions of Loveness Tonge, one of the best goalkeepers in the league, doesn't get the call-up. questions for me also emerge since we've been struggling with the defense. I think at least for the provisional local squad, I think Pauline Zulu and I think Esther Mchinga deserves to get those call-ups. I think Nandi Pamukombe is another girl who could have deserved a call-up given how good she was for Trident Queens. I think also Sante Mukwata deserves a look playing for Green Eagles. I think overall a very good squad called by the technical bench there. And of course, most of these exciting youngsters are in there. The experience, do I agree with everything? Not really. But I think at the end of the day, I think that's the core of the setup. And to our ardent followers on this show, just for those that may not understand, so that we don't confuse you, this is not the final squad, and you can see foreign players and local players in the squad. It's a local camp. The foreign players that are in here is because their seasons are done. They are valuable locally, so they are part of the team and they are being assessed right now. For those that are not there, especially those based in the US and Mexico, their seasons are still on. Yes, in the US there's a break of 1 month because of the World Cup, but the players are still training, and immediately the World Cup ends, the season kicks off until maybe 20th July. That's when the FIFA window starts. So they'll be released there and about. So that's why they're not part of this camp. They'll join the team, I think, in Algeria before flying to Morocco. So that's the setup of this team. I feel like we've got the makings of what could be a good team, but I feel like the challenge is for Coach Nora to find what's working on the left back, right back position, defensive midfielder position. Going forward, we'll always get the goals when you have the likes of Barbara Banda in that squad. Enere Speedy, another very intelligent player, very troublesome for the opponent's defense when she's on that wing, will bring in all those dangerous balls. Freedom Koma is back to playing football with a team in China. So there's a whole lot of all these other players that could come in when the second phase starts of preparations. But so far, so good. Although I think a number of those that I've named, I would have loved to see them. But at the end of the day, you only have a specific number of players that you have to work with. Also, what's her name? Senior. Justina Zulu, the defender from Zanaco. I would have also loved to see her in the squad. She's been very good in the league. I would have loved to see her in this squad.
Of course, anything Zanaco would want to see, but at the end of the day, the question is a comment for you here. They're saying, is it true that the girls were paid 300 kwacha each? I asked you that question as well in the background. I haven't gotten any feedback from you.
In my show, I'm 300. Okay, to be honest, these are issues I don't like to follow up on because it's just going to upset me if it's true. But for the sake of our ardent followers, we'll be able to give them feedback as the show goes on. Let me just make one phone call text as the show goes on. I'll be able to give you feedback, which is unfortunate. I think at the end of the day, when the girls do their job, they need to be compensated adequately. Like if that was the arrangement, like, oh, okay, this you are playing for this, you just be given transport refund or whatever it is, then that's good. But if there was a prior arrangement of things to be done, the way there's a winning bonus, camping allowance, and all that, I think we need to also honor our part, because at the end of the day, as we ask them to go to WAFCON and qualify for the World Cup, we also need to make sure they are good. Most of these are breadwinners at home, so it's unfair for us to ask a whole lot of this from them while we're not doing our part. So I will verify that for you and see if it's true or not.
Okay. Great conversations right on the Get Up Show. If you're just joining in, welcome on board. And of course, the conversation is around the Copper Queens. My thought around what has been called is I'm thinking on the application side with the players that have been called into camp and basing the probability on the outcome, or I should say the final squad that will be going into the WAFCON. So looking at these players that have been called into camp, we are still going back to the same team that we have seen in the most recent times with Coach Nora. That will go down to the application itself on the field of play and what Coach Nora wants to achieve in the tournament. And I see her obviously struggling, not because she doesn't have the right players, but because she might have missed a great deal to be with these players. Because of late, even the bringing in of young talent to the team has been very consistent, especially on the local front, but very little that has been seen at the final level. What I mean is that if at all a team is going into the AFCON, by now I think the coach should have been around in order to assess these players rigorously, intensely from back home before they even fly out to Algeria. Why? Because Aaron has been mentioning players here that were supposed to be part of the the provisional squad back home. It is very easy to access these players. It is very easy to bring them together and to assess them rigorously before even you come out with a list that is going to fly out to Algeria. We already know what the likes of Barbara Banda, Rachel Kundananji, Priska Chilufia, Grace Chanda, they'll be able to do. But what is the opportunity of these young lads in order to showcase their talent around the Copper Queens? Now, there is a very critical thing that needs to be reflected, especially in football. Making a name at home is very easy than making a name at the very highest level like the WAFCON. Any other player that breaks at the WAFCON is a gem. So we can have these names back home and we can be carried away and pick them and go into the tournament. But at what level are they going to perform and what are they going to give us by the end of the day? That should be done with a coach. But the coach here for me is a problem. The coach is the one that is letting us down because with the talent that is available, we should not seemingly lean in one direction where we are going to still have the same players that we have seen in the most recent times. So, what has been brought is good, but what will be the final product? What will be the final team in the WAFCON? Will it be ready to go on the field and, of course, do something different? Unlike what we have seen. What we have seen has been more mechanical and it has less given, of course, the best, especially to the Zambian fans. But we have a chance. For me, a 1 month is very, very, of course, a lot of time, I should say. It's a whole lot of time for any coach to just put up a very good squad that can go into a tournament and be able to win. Our blueprint should be in the last WAFCON and how we fared and how the players, most of these players were there, how they performed and what caused them to perform like that and what has been the problem in the most recent times. So Coach Nora should find her way to Zambia. I know maybe there are plans that she will join the team in Algeria because it's quite closer, but she was needed in Zambia in order to give the best to these players because there are a whole lot of players that were supposed to be part of this squad. This is not the final squad. This is a provisional squad, so it has no limit to how many players can join at a very local level. And if a coach, the head coach is available, she will know and she will have at least tested the players rigorously and, of course, take them into the WAFCON. I don't know how NLS Piri is going to perform in the final team. I don't know how the likes of uh, maybe Martha Tembo are going to perform, but they have been there. The system is very important going into the tournament. But anyways, this is a right co-op. I'm only struggling to, of course, coordinate what Coach Nora is going to have on the field of play. Have the right players, have the names, but still have a distorted play, which is much contributing to or contributed by the technical aspect in itself. So let's hope that the team is going to gel together in a short possible time, go into the WAFCON, be able to go into the semifinals. But with what is in at the moment and the behavior around the coach, it will be very hard to achieve that. Anyways, we'll be more than glad to hear from you as well. Share your thoughts. And of course, conversations too. Get up and running right on the Get Up Show. Aaron is here, Musman is here, Tutu Evaristo is here, and Milas is here as well, and many others to just dive in this conversation. Let's bring in Evaristo. I know you did touch on the Copper Queens, but your anticipation to the final team, this is just a provisional squad, Tutu. What are you anticipating the final squad?
I think my anticipation is to see the goalkeeping department. I think we need to change. I think Mufunte has shown maturity now. She's ready for the bigger stage. And Margaret Gondwe, she was exciting. And these youngsters who have been running around in the league, Chipasula and Daniel Speedy, I think it's high time now we start playing them. So I'm only anticipating a few, hopefully Mzakankara, a few young faces, and then these other ones. I think we don't have a very big pool to replace anyone. So I hopefully tingachinjemo che vafana che vaviri taikamo che kameri Chipasula atami taikamo kamesi Chipasula taikamo na kaeneresi, then we go, we protect the sticks, we put in Mufunte and Margaret Gondwe pa 4-5 paja, because she seems to have pace, and then maybe a bit of Wesaria Mwanza there and there. She's also good. So these youngsters, I'm only hoping that they'll be given enough time to compete, because time is now. There's no time. Time is now. That's that's what I can say about the team.
But Evaristo, Hazel Nali is a champion. She's a league winner. Why would you want to not see her in goal?
Come on, Musman. Yeah, you've said that. Not that I'm saying she's bad, but after coming back from injury, I still see her to be a bit heavy. The agility part is not flexible enough. But if you look at Mufunte and if you watch women's football, see the way she is, she's a real deal. So we are not trying to take away the legacy of Hazel Onali. No, she's done a lot for the team, but it doesn't mean that since she's worked on the team for a long period enough, that guarantees her a kind of permanent plot. No. Friendly, we saw when Mufunte was brought in, I saw a lot of things. She's good on the balls. She's good on the ball, on the legs. She can distribute the ball. So, not any time these things are not permanent.
But you saw a friendly against Lesotho.
Is it game done? Is it not the Zimbabwean game? Is it not the Zimbabwean game?
I mean, it was 4 nations with 3 funny teams. So.
Come on, it has always been like that.
I'm trying to understand how you put Hazel Nali Kwaya.
Yes. Like I said, her coming back from injury, she looks a bit heavy for me. She looks a bit heavy.
I've watched this coach. She doesn't look heavy. I think she's been fine. I think Hazel Nali is our best goalkeeper. But you've seen one game, and this is the reason Nora is in the country, because we see one game and we say Nora should come. We've seen one game that Mufunte has played. Unless you are following women's football to a point whereby you're also traveling to Chipata with Aaron at 7 hours to go and watch Mufunte.
No, if James and Aaron will just be honest with me, I know Green Buffaloes are in a competition, go. But if you in a Penvia Anganira, I'm looking for a goalkeeper who's got agility, someone who is flexible, someone who is sharp. And if you are looking for those attributes, you're going to tell me that Kamufunte maninga active than Hazel. Hazel is good, but she's experienced, but she looks a bit heavy. and tuma mistakes tujatuma paka. So that's the main reason now tikamba tufuna coach azibwera azingala muno zati azitamba league. So as you know my performance, how these girls are performing week in week out. So for me, that's my opinion. My opinion is, and I'll still stick to it, I still feel, and I've always been advocating, I think Mufunte now, this is the time now. Her time now is ready. Same as NL Speed. NL Speed was the best player in the league. And if you're going to make that team based on performance, she needs to be starting games up front there. We need to, especially, I think a front three can work. NLS, Barbara, and Kundananji. She's good. She has the numbers. She can dribble. She can take the defenders on. She's good. So, I need my opinion, younger. So, I expect these youngsters to be given time. No. This is the time. We can't still hang on to the same team for years and years and years and years. Yambokota team. It needs young blood.
Musman, you can add on something. I know the debate is between Mufunte and Hezonali, but let's get your anticipated final squad out of what is available at the moment. We know that the senior players will be joining in later on, but what is your anticipated final squad of the Copper Queens?
I won't be one to lend a very intelligent opinion on this one. I'm just going to even say that, the likes of Eniles and Messi should be part. For me, I feel Grace Chanda should not even be called to the national team. I don't think she brings anything to the national team. I think her talent is done. She was good before, and even before, she wasn't even that great, but she played the role. So I think people like Grace Chanda should not even be called to the national team. I think people like Martha Tembo, Margaret Belemu, all of these guys. Well, I'm a bit even on Martha Tembo. I would say she can be in as a backup. But a lot of these guys, for me, should not be called. Average Tundu, look, she's also for me like a Grace Chanda. I don't really see what she brings to the team. I was watching Zesco when they were playing their Champions League here and whatnot, and I don't really see what she brings to the team. And for me, and we are all soccer people, we all love our football and whatnot. So for me, when I say that I've seen what Ochumba has done, then I give her respect on that. I see what she has done. But I've never seen what Grace Chanda has done for the national team. I've never seen what Everine Katongo has done for the national team. Look, she's come in and played 1-2 good games, and it ends there. I'll disagree here with Evaristo. I think Hazel Nali is a champion. She's won the league. She's come back from injury. She's been around for about 2 seasons now. I think she's stable. She's good to go. We cannot say that she cannot, Mufunte is better than her. There I beg to differ, because I think she's the champion and she has won the trophy. She's got accolades with her. I think she should be a starter in the Zambian national team. It shouldn't even be a question for me at any given point. But yes, in the other position, Everine, Belemu.
Musman, just a question. So when you are talking about these accolades, but why are we looking about the past achievements, various achieved, or looking at about maybe current form? Because if you are talking about the achievements, then the likes of the Belemus have to be there as well, because I think they have equally achieved what they have. They've got the same silverware. Na Hazel.
Yeah, but Hazel is, the goalkeeping position is a bit different. Hazel Nali has proved that she's been, an excellent keeper. If you look at the clean sheets that Zesco have had, yes, you can argue that to say that you're bringing in these accolades and things like that. But you know what? In any team, whether you're supporting Arsenal, whether you're supporting Orlando Pirates, you can tell that, okay, Uja, ni planga, sangangene, but alimom team. So there are certain players like Hazel, ni planga, she's good. But when you look at Margaret Belem, ni planga, yolema. When you look at Martha Tembo, wanasira vaje, ni planga volema vaje. So you are seeing the football that is being played. But in the goalkeeping position, this is actually one of the positions that you can go and be 40 years old and still be doing an excellent job. And if you look at the infield players, their time comes to an end, which is what has come to an end for Matatembo, Margaret Belemu. Everine is also overhyped because she just passes one ball and then all of a sudden, oh wow, she split the defense. And then from that, we don't even hear from her anymore. We just said, oh, okay, she's good. But at the end of the day, we have to be sincere and honest in what we are seeing. And if what we are seeing is that we need plan, let's call it a spade. Everine Planga, Grace Chandani Planga. There's a lot of plangers that have been called to this event that I don't want to be seeing called to the national team at any given point. But with regards to Hazel Nali, there I will have to disagree with you. I think she's an excellent goalkeeper. Mofunte could be good and she come in as a backup, but she's an excellent goalkeeper for me. And at the end of the day, Nora herself, who's like me. I'm not so privy so much to Zambian football. And if you have a coach who's just like me, who I'm just hearing from Aaron Mwanga to say Memory Intala should start, that's what Nora is for the national team. She's just hearing from people to say, that one should start. And that's where the problem is actually resonating with the national team. And that's why we have such funny call-ups or bring him a planga, Bambi.
Okay, so that's Musman there. And of course, if you're just joining in, welcome to the Get Up Show. It's already hot in here. All you have to do is share your thoughts concerning the Copper Queens. Remember, this is not the final squad. This is a provisional squad, locally based, of course, a squad. And later on, the big girls will be joining in. And it will be Zambia preparing, of course, for the WAFCON in itself. Great debate coming in between Musman and Evaristo there, but Aaron is here as well. Aaron, let's come to you. There is, of course, this as a provisional squad. Probably, what would be your anticipated, of course, final squad? What kind of players are we likely to see at the end of the preparation in itself? Of course, the team has to jet into Algeria. From there, they will have to make their way to Morocco. But surely, there should be an anticipated squad. What is your anticipated squad for the tournament come, of course, in 1 month's time?
If it was me, it would be a different squad made by 5 players. But given that it's Nora, so Ezeonari and Catherine Musonda, 2 goalkeepers, then either Mufonte or Eunice will make it as a backup for those 3. Then the defense, Margaret Berem is going to make it. Rachel Natura is going to make it. Memory Intala, Blessing Maluba, Siomala Mapepa, Saria, Lusho Momwemba, and Martha Tembo. Those are likely to make it. Maybe one of them may miss, maybe Memory or Siomala. But I think those are the names that are going to make it, looking at Nora. Then the midfield, I think there's going to be Irene Lungu in there. Everine is going to make it. I'm not sure on Ellen Chanda and Natasha Nanyangwe. One of those could make it. Grace is going to make it. And then up front you're going to have the likes of Priska, Rachel, Barbara, Enes, who else is on here who could make it? I think Frida Mukoma, definitely making it, knowing how Nora loves speedy players. Maybe then maybe a bit of, I don't know, maybe Avel Chitundo, Peno Pumruwa. I think that for me, majority of those players I've named are going to make that squad. If I've missed maybe 1 or 2, but I think 20 or so from that list are going to make it from those that I've named. Yeah, but also
Gondwe out.
What?
Spasula na Gondwe out.
according to your.
No. Pasula is definitely making it. Gondo is a 50-50 affair. Pasula is on Nora's list. Pasula and Freedom Command Maluba like they come definitely after Barbara and Kundananji in terms of with the players Nora. Right?
Okay. Evaristo, you're saying something.
I was saying I've noticed that Ziomara has been turned into a defender. So meaning left kuja Salia Mwanza, we've got Martha, and then we've got Nachula. Don't you think that maybe one wing will be over equipped?
So for that, so Salia and Martha can play both left and right. So that's why.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So
So
and from this,
just have Margaret on one side, and then you could put either Salia, or because Salia uses both legs and she's got equal power in both legs for some reason. And then Martha is like a naturally right-footed, so she plays both. She's a makeshift left back.
Okay. Well clarified there, and that's what I wanted to say. Because when you look at Martha, you look at Ziomara Mapepa, and then you look at Margaret Belemu, we do have, of course, Rachel Nachula. These four,
Yes.
obviously, if they make it, then probable lineup, Martha always will start on the bench, and the likes of Margaret Belemu, slight chance to start, obviously. But we have to wait and see, because the young lads are giving in competition here. It will be really, really intense for the coach, especially in Algeria. I think that's where the whole lot of fights for the positions will come in. Milias, are you around? Is it Bwezani? Bwezani, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so the Copper Queens preparing 1 month time. Obviously, the WAFCON will be up and running. The team will be going to Algeria. We have a provisional squad. The names are right on the screen. Coach Nora, not in the country. The WAFCON is just around the corner. I know how hard you have been for a coach to be around. But with what we have, we are looking at the probable lineup. This is not the final squad, but a probable lineup, something anticipated going into the WAFCON. What's your take? What's your thought around the provisional squad?
Okay. Look, I said earlier before Aaron came about our knowledge with the women football, which we are learning from people like Aaron. Okay. And for me, when I look at the squad and the little I've watched, I'm impressed with it. Of course, I don't know if it is just liking or I'm critical. I was thinking Pauline, having started very well, should have been in this provisional squad. I don't know. Maybe I will need to learn to say there are still open windows for the other players to break into this. But I think Pauline should be going to the WAFCON. That's my thought. Over Nora, she left immediately after the Four Nations tournament. Actually, she got into the same plane with the Lesotho team.
Story is that she requested for a ticket before the first game.
Yeah, you see, and for the coach, I'll be honest with you. For the coach, I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those that are waiting for a contract to run out and to have a different coach. Even Aaron, if he can get his dig license, I would even support him than Nora.
Aaron, go and get your license.
I've seen support system too strong.
Yeah, honestly, because you want to look at it. I'm not being petty. I know people are going to say that, but to be honest, that girl. Oh, someone stopped me from calling her a girl. Nora needs us more than we need her. You understand? I've counted with the help of other people. I think from the time she came and she was unveiled as a coach, the days she has spent in the country are 39. Yeah, at 39. The 4 days she spent with Aaron going around the stadiums, sitting and getting photos. Okay. Then the other days when she came, she was fighting over her contract. Really, to be with the local camp, it's been absent for her. So we do not have the coach. And whatever progress or whatever success that we are getting, we should be excited with our assistant coaches. For Nora, I really do not have kind words.
A side hustle. Coaching looks like a side hustle now.
Anyway, she is a remote control coach.
And that's the thing. You can't, Mdala. You can't. I know there are people that support her, but you cannot have a coach like Nora. Even Havrena, if you check, he was actually better. You understand what I mean? Because not Havrena, the old man, the friend of Jones.
Avram.
Yes, Avram Grant. Even Avram Grant was far much better. Because for Avram Grant, you would actually know where to find him. One day I wanted to ask him questions. I found him at Holiday Inn. Of course, he bought me coffee and I enjoyed myself. But you can't have such with Nora. It's something that seriously needs to be looked into. And I know the executive is tied. They are scared of maintaining those big fees that have to be paid for abrogating the contracts. But honestly speaking, we needed a better deal than what Nora is giving us. Thank you.
Thank you
But
so
of course,
much,
a comment from Aaron about why is Pauline not seen? Is she not one of the favorites of Nora? Or really, who makes these collabs?
Aaron.
I think I don't know why she's not part of the squad. I think sometimes some of the issues should be maybe something that something happened in camp or something like that. I'm not too sure what could have transpired, but I think that should be the issue. Otherwise, I think for me personally, I think Esther Mchinga, Pauline, Nadipa Mkombe, Sante Mkwata should have at least been tried, because at the end of the day, those are the positions we're struggling with. We're struggling to see who to partner with Rucho Momwemba and a defensive midfielder. Those are the positions we're struggling with. And I think given that the majority of the pool comes from the local league, and these are players who've been performing better than most in terms of week in and week out performances, I think, and Justina Zulu from Zanaco, the right back, I think those are the ones that could have been given, a chance to showcase their talent, given that this is the first phase of preparations. Obviously, yes, the window is still open, and usually when they call a camp like this, they will call 28 players. You find that there are 36 or 45 players in camp, because they'll just keep on adding, oh, Uja, Muleten, we want to see Uja. So they always come in, like the usual, the list that's called is not usually the exact amount that's in camp. These are just the official ones. What there's usually players coming in generally, or whether men or women, that's how it goes. They'll add more players, because maybe when making the list, they could have overlooked a player, like maybe Mamuiwa Alache. You are thinking about her, but for making a list, Mamuiwa Alache genuinely, or maybe you didn't just think of the player, and then you're like, oh, I think in Chabola. Let's see what they're able to do in this situation, and things like that. So I'm hoping Pauline and Esther Mtinga get through into the squad right now as the week progresses, so that we're able to see, they're able to be assessed on what they're able to do and things like that.
Huh?
Yeah.
Now, Aaron, let's talk about the Pauline issue. I want you to let's stick with the Pauline issue. Zescondola girls are the defending champions, and was she prominent, consistent into the Zescondola girls team that won it? Okay, I want to understand if she was consistent. If she was, then it's really not anything to do with football as to why she is left out. Because if she was, then she should be one of the best defenders in the country.
Well, what happened was at the start of the season, Pauline was still at Zanaco, didn't play games at Zanaco. So halfway through the season, that's when she went to Zesco. She was a prominent feature alongside the midfield. I think Marjorie Mulenga, who sometimes would play at centre back. Esther Mchingo would play maybe as a defensive midfielder and sometimes as centre back. So I think that's why I'm saying those two, and maybe even I think Marjorie also should have maybe made this provisional squad. But at the end of the day, usually the coaches start doing their own things at the end of the day, depending on what they see, like what works for them. Maybe during the last
What do you mean their own things? You are not impressed, right?
No, they usually look at what makes sense to them. Sometimes we might love a player, but maybe the coaches think, oh, this doesn't fit in their system or something like that at the end of the day. So it's very tricky. That's the challenge with these camps. So, but given how she finished the season, I think she deserves a chance to be in the squad together with the likes of Esther Mchinga, I think Nandi Pamukombe, Justina Zulu, among others. But usually, like I said, the list is specific to a number, so they would usually just go a certain number. Usually, always certain players will miss out, and there will always be a debate around that.
Okay,
Aaron,
thank you.
I've got a question, Kuli Aaron. I just wanted to get his views. Aaron, do you feel like these local lads are good enough to challenge these other girls who have been in the team like for some time now?
Of course, that question does not even need Aaron. Even Milias can answer it. Yes, they look for me.
Why
Evaristo.
are you implicating Milias?
Why millions? But I can also answer it. It's right. I can also answer it. But it doesn't need Aaron.
No,
doesn't need an expert.
It doesn't, because you want to look at the girls that we have used for a long time.
And you're wise.
Thank you so much. You are like boss. I know we don't follow women football, but we watch. You understand what I mean? You are able to say Martha is a different player than she was like 3 years ago. Muwana naona Mataya Mbosila. Aaron, over to you. The question was referred to you.
And thank you. I thank you for being polite, because otherwise nothing is planned.
Aaron,
obviously.
let Aaron answer. Musman, let's allow Aaron to answer. I know you want to just make Aaron say something. Aaron, please answer the question.
Nemziva. So hapa nimamtamba chini. Amba kudala. Kulivenza mbezo fulani muyanke na mtamba chini. But he's just trying to make me answer. So on the broader sense, when you look at it, obviously certain players could challenge. But personally, I feel like in terms of the centre back position, when it comes to Lusho Momwemba, as at now, nobody is as good as we may think. Whatever it is, nobody at the moment is as good as her. I think that's the unchallenged position at the moment. But two partners that's up for grabs because Maluba hasn't really stuck in there. What Pauline, who couldn't spend, what all these other players who've played there. So there's always Margaret Berem hasn't been herself since I think military training, but I think during the Four Nations tournament, we saw glimpses of what she used to be. So hopefully that is a good sign going forward. So that's a possibility. Left back, obviously, Martha being a makeshift left back, there's always positions in there. Siomala has been tried in there, but she's not a left back. Maybe Saria, who's also not naturally a left back, but has played a left back for the majority of under 20 days and has been winning player of the tournament at COSAF as a left back for two back-to-back seasons, for two back-to-back under 20 tournaments. Obviously, the midfield positions up for grabs. There's a lot of changing in there in terms of form and whatnot. I think there are only maybe one. I think at maximum maybe 3-4 positions that unchallenged at the moment. No matter what
So-
you do at this point, nobody.
So my man midfield. Blessings. Isn't blessings a natural number 6?
Actually, Blessing
Maluba.
Maluba is number 10.
Okay.
Yes. So she's used as a defensive midfielder at under 17. At club level, she plays either as a 8 or a 10. Sometimes comes back as a 6, but mostly as a 8 at club level. Where she would play as a 6, but naturally she's more of a number 10. So those are the positions. But Nora wants a ball playing defender. So that's why she was brought back to play as centre back. So those are some of the challenges. What Nora wants, what we have at the moment. So it's a bit of a lot. So those are some of the challenges that are moving around. Obviously, majority of our players started and made it to that team from the local league. Even those that start like Mapalo Maluba come from Changa Rangers Queens, straight from a provincial league team, then went to Changa Rangers Queens. So I think some of the local league players are good enough for that, but some of them, as usual, might just be good enough for the local league. But yes, a number of them that could actually go. Messi Chipasula hasn't ever gone out, but she's made it into that team. She's even made the debut at WAFCON. Enere Speedy, who we all see what she's able to do, is one of the players I think somebody said should be starting, which I agree with. I think for me, my front line has Enere Speedy in there, and as I think my front line for me is Barbara in there, Enere is this side, Kundananji the other side. I think that's my front line for me. Or maybe somebody else this side, Kundananji behind Barbara there, NLS this side. But those three, I think that's part of my starting setup if I was the coach. But unfortunately, it's Coach Nora Apple's preview and pay view to be able to decide who starts and who doesn't at the moment.
Okay. James, welcome. You have been going and coming back. Let me get your thoughts concerning the Copper Queens before we just close this conversation.
Please give James 25 seconds. I'm a boy for 11 hours. I understand women's soccer, I'm a 7, 06, but still more is not justifiable for him.
No. But you're not honest. Because last week I was the best. I don't know what you're talking about. Even here I was the best. I just left to do something.
I'm trying to understand. He's traveling today. He was busy streaming the playoffs. So he's traveling.
Okay. First of all, it's one of the good guys we have, but there are gaps. As Aaron has said. The gaps that we have here is some of the players. To start with, I'll talk of what Aaron said. Players like Esther Mchinga, you can't even understand why she's not in the team because she's the best central midfielder we have currently in the country. There's no player that can play that role than Esther Mchinga right now. The creativity, and this is a player who can play as a left back, she can play as a right back, she can play as a central defender, and actually she started her career as a goalkeeper. So she's a player who you can push. She has played as a top man before. She's a player who understands her role as a number 6. She has been an anchor man. She's a cheat code for Zesco Nora girls currently. And as to why she's always left out, as to why she's left out of the national team, I don't understand. For Pauline, just to answer Mr. President's question, Pauline Zoro, she played all the 17 games. The last 17 games of the second round for Zesco. So she's been solid, and this is what we are talking about. To say you take Pauline Zoro to the national team for the 4 nations. Then Martha is a left-footed player. You get Rose Dutchration, who is a number 6, who have never played for 5. You bring her back to play a back 5. You put Martha, who is left-footed, to right as a right back. So every time she had the ball, because she can never use a right leg, she'll turn because she's looking for a safe place to play. So why not move Natura? Because Natura is right-footed. You force her to play on the left side. Why not move Natura to the right back, and then you bring Martha Tembo to the left side of it, because she uses left. But Nora took Martha. No, she took Martha to the right side, where Martha cannot play even with the right leg. So every time she had the ball, she was telling because for her to be in a comfortable position to play the ball, she needed to bring it to the left. And the only place where she tends to play with the left was to play a back pass. And that made Martha look very bad at the end of the day. So 4-5, Pauline must be the player who will part in Arushomo. 6, of course, Aaron said Marwa is number 10. Marwa is natural number 6. Quick club, they didn't just have an attacking power. The club where she was coming from, where she was the only one who could hit and shoot. That's a natural number 6 we have with Esther Mchinga. These two, they should be there.
She's not a number 6.
Actually,
it's number 6, my
Aaron, she's a natural number 6, Aaron. Okay, let's not argue. You've said what you know. I've got limited media. Who have the conversation?
Number 6, Mapalo's number 6.
No, if every time you watch, if you watch the Bandana, the natural position is 6, but because they needed someone to score.
I'm telling you, Mapalo's number 6. I'm telling you, number 6.
So at the end of the day, in the midfield, we have few players like Maparo and Esther Mchinga. These are players who can help us. The midfield challenge we are having, they can really help us because they are all ball-playing players. They can mark, they are creative, and the final third passes are very accurate. So these are players that we need in that midfield, because I can't even see where you get almost 10 defenders. For what? Because she's prepared to say, and what was very disappointing is to see Nora against Kenya, you play back 5. Why? Teams like Kenya, and let's go. She wants to play ball playing, a passing football. But in front, she had put all the 3 who have no ball control. Frida Mukoma is not good with ball control. Raskia is not good with ball control. Priska Chirufia, Nicola, she has no good ball control. So, if you want to play a passing football, but you're putting people who can't control the ball. How do you put a player who can control the ball to play a passing football? So, all these, we had 5 defenders, 3 strikers, only 2 midfielders we had. And, like, serious, you can't play like that with Nigeria. They'll punish you. So I think there are a lot of things to be done, and there are a lot of things to consider, and there are a lot of players for me. Even if this camp, for me, I would love to say even Marjorie Mulenga for Zesco, she had a good season. very consistent. Apart from that, there's a player that I'm always advocating for. Talk of this girl for Trident, Nandipa. She's coming up well also as a central back. A centre back, this is a player who have played as a striker and as a midfielder before, but her position at Trident, she has cemented it. Left back, we've got kids like Saria. There's no need of forcing 2-year-old Natura to play out of position. Or Martha Tembo. Martha Tembo, as someone has said to say, Whether has said, she ran her race. She has done her part. And West, this is a left-footed player. This is not a winger. Shooting. No, this is a defender who need to say, in case of emergency, she needs to clear. And then Mumfa, she can only use the left leg. Mumfa can right back. Like, okay, look what Zambo telling you to play. She can't play with right. So, all these issues has to be considered. And when you look at most of these players, which are the national team, the question we should be asking to say, how consistent are they? Even at their club level. Of course, Dangote has worked for the club, for the team. But at this point where we have reached, these are not players we can be using to play 90 minutes. Players like Grace Charlotte. No. The time was there. The time was there. Not because she's the West, but stay happy. We've got girls who can perform on those positions. Even Katongo, okay, Natasha Katongo. Blessing, Helen Chanda, for me, it's another questionable call for Nora. When we talk of Bungosa and the spell of Messi, Pastor Avio, I think for the front line it's okay, but when it comes to the defense, I think players like Shomara Mapepa, Machuda Mukunda, Martha Tembo, I think these are players we shouldn't to be talking of to stay consistent. We have got players even locally that are playing better football at this time who are in form. And talk of my goalkeepers. In a goalkeeper since the every season she's always in the top 2 in terms of clean sheets. This season she was the best goalkeeper. This season she had 19. Last season 20. The other season she has 17 clean sheets. So I don't know what you are looking for. I don't even know what the national team is looking for in a goalkeeper. Because if someone can keep 4 seasons in a row, she's keeping more than 16 clean sheets every season. I don't know what else you are looking for. So for me, Green Eagles goalkeeper, since they're not happen, maybe I think about Pempero. Because it doesn't make sense anymore. Because even this goalkeeper, Wako Elite, Oliver Sarara is my person. I know this is his town, but truth be told, this is not a goalkeeper who is the first choice under 17. This is a second choice under 17 goalkeeper, who was just a first choice under 15. Even at Elite, she's not the first choice. So, this is a player you are going to get and who keeps 16, more than 16. I think I don't know what Tonge did, but she should someone who should be considered, and this is, I don't find it right myself, to a point where you disrespect in a manner where you are going to get even a player who is not even a starter at under 17, she's not even a starter at the club, and this is a person you consider for the national co-op, than a person who keeps if we go, me and Aaron, if we are to be honest, let's just say the last 5 seasons, if we were to put together all her works, she's been the current local best goalkeeper we have had in the last 3 years. So I'm not sure what we look for. So at the end of the day, Nora has scored. And as Aaron said, I hope to say out of this, they'll filter certain things. Because even Machuda Mukunda, if we were to ask which football does she play, of course she has power to shoot and to shoot. But if we are talking of a senior national team, honestly, this is not a player we can call. I don't know, Sekachan. No, me, I'm just beautiful. No, this is a player you can go for a national team to say, Aaron, she's going to defend against Venezuela. No, this is not a player you can go to say, you play Aaron national team. Of course, this is, as I've said, Oliver is my man, but when the truth has to be spoken, let it be spoken. So, again, issues of Helen Chanda. I'm not sure why Nora believes to say people who are out there are the people who deserve to buy the national team. We've got girls who work week in, week out. They are playing. Look at Marjorie Mulenga. Look at Esther Muchinga, best midfielder in the local league. But why would we leave her? Why would we leave her from the national team? Kurimasa Tembo, there is Saria. Saria is a very good left back. Let's give the child. She grows with that. And the Paul Nation was a time for Nora to try some of these players, not to play names. Kuseveni Kuja, Priska Chirupia has no chance to stand against NRS. Right now, NRS is the best player in Zambia, whether male or female. But right now, she's the most intelligent player that Zambia have after Enoch Mwep. Whether male or female, she's the best, most intelligent player that we have in NRS. So, Kuri Priska Chirupia Kuja, that's where NRS should be. And we shouldn't have the issue that Nora did during the Four Nations. I asked her one of the press briefing to say she threw Bruce under the bus, which she was saying she was playing Chipante Pante. But that's the game she was playing. She got upset. She was very upset, saying, "No, you watched a different football." But that was the truth. So if we go like this, Nora is not helping the nation. If she can't change, she can't adapt, she can't get players who are performing, let Nora go. We bring people who understand football, who watch our football, people who add value to the team. This team from the time Nora came.
King, are you the same person or you have changed?
No, I haven't changed. I'm just speaking the truth out. I'm just speaking the truth out.
No, 3 weeks ago you came with a different narrative.
No, the truth has to be spoken, Mr. Mbere. So at the end of the day, the team has gone down. It's no longer the Copper Queens, even when we are going to WAFCON. Let us not have so much ambition in the Copper Queens because you will die with BPs and the heartbreaks. This is no longer the same Copper Queen that Bruce left. Because Nora too much experiments. Nora, as Aaron has done, she's just doing things that she thinks. There are players who are in this team that is your Marama paper. When was the last time she was consistent with her performance? When was the last time? But you are leaving players who are playing week in, week out. So at the end of the day, me, I'll tell you to say, we've got young Brad here. We are happy to see Margaret. So at the end of the day,
King.
This issue of this.
That's why I'm a Kalipa King. Why would you say something like that?
So at the end of the day, the national team, it has been called. Let's see the final team that God give us, and let's see people who come. The only worry I have is, are we going to have Barbara ready during the AFCON? Because right now we are not sure.
You can't say that any less is better, men or women, whatever. You can't say that at any given point. You can put any less at prison leopards and she won't perform. You can't say things like that. But at the end of the day, I don't know. You can't put her in a men's team and think she'll perform. Let's not disrespect the men. Let's not disrespect us. You know.
At the end of the day, maybe another player who is intelligent than any rest.
Okay.
In terms of men,
King,
out of
King
all the
and
teams in Zambia, all the men are more intelligent than any rest. But that's not the point. The point here is that
King.
That's not the point. I don't know. That's not the point. At the end of the day, we need to also look at it this way. Does Nora pick the team? And I'll say no. I'll say it's Haluuno. And whatever his name is, Haluuno and his friends. He's the one who chose the last team that was nonsensical.
leave Harumon out of this. Currently is Nora. I know you don't like Harumon, but currently is Nora who chose this. Don't accuse Harumon.
I've never said I don't like Haluvuno, but the last team that he chose, everyone that's okay. When is Nora saying any less spirit? So you can't come out and say that she's the one picking the team. It's not possible.
Nora.
It's not possible. You see, the problem with you, King, is you have one interview with Nora, and then all of a sudden she becomes the king. No, that's not the case. Let's be honest and sincere with ourselves. When does she see any less spirit play? Nora and me are in the same WhatsApp group. I haven't seen any less play like that. I haven't seen message structure play like that. But Haluvuno is the one who chooses the team, and he chose Maplanga the last time around. And still, he's the one who's still suggesting those names to go to the national team.
Okay. Let's speak to the information that is available, what we have. Whoever picks the team has given us this information right now. And the conversation is the anticipation to the final squad in itself. If these players are not satisfying you, King, at the moment, we cannot still even talk about players that are not part of the squad and they still make it about the squad. That's a very optional case by the end of the day. The players that are available are the players that are going to make it to the final squad. And what we have is a provisional squad. So let's speak to the provisional squad. Whoever picks the squad, whoever decided who this player to be part of the squad, we don't know. But at the moment, we take it as Coach Nora.
It's not me. It's Mutu who has brought the issue of picking the squad.
Yes. So King, kindly wind up concerning the Copper Queens.
Okay, for me, just to wind up, from these players who are here, me I would still advise to say, in the final squad, where Benukundana and Priska will show, Esther Muchinga should show there, because that's the best midfielder that we have. And players like Martha Tembo, Matilda Mukunda, Siomara Mapepa, Rhoda Chileshe, for me, I don't think this is the material we need. And to the goalkeeper department, I don't know what Tonge committed, what crime, but I feel she can still be called the same way other names will join this camp without them being on this list. So, on freedom, Tari, because she still has a long way to go. She's only 15, the girl. She still has a lot of time to go to the under 20, under 20, and to the national team. So, for me, and then on the strikers, I think this I can only comment much when I see the final list of Barbara, and I hope Barbara by then she'll be fully ready to take up the challenge, because just her presence in the squad speaks volumes. So, and at the end of the day, Nora has given us what she thinks it is the best, and let's see what she will trim out of this. But players like Esther Muchinga, those are some of the players she should consider never to leave for the World Cup. For the WAFCON, I mean. Sorry, we are using the World Cup in women's football.
So when is Nora going to watch Esther Muchinga? Since she's the one that picked the team.
Nora has watched few local games together na Aaron Mubangari hapa. That's why Yanga na pass in your
Yatile Terera interview yakingi. Yatile Terera. All of a sudden, Nora is the queen of football in Zambia. All of a sudden. And you were the one criticizing her prior to this. I'm just asking you, when is she going to see Esther Muchinga? You're telling me she's lost a couple of games.
No,
I just ask you a simple question. When is she going to see Muchinga play? She's not in the country. When is she going to see Muchinga play? Since she's the one that picked the team.
Clips and videos are there that they can watch. If they want them, we can provide them. And full matches are there.
Okay. I think we have exhausted a whole lot around the Copper Queens. And time is not the best friend, unless if there is any other that has not been talked about around the Copper Queens. Anyone?
No, we are done with the Copper Queens. Haluvuno and Nora should all go. They should leave Zambian football.
Okay, we are done with the Copper Queens. And of course, time being not the best friend, I think we can just have a quick reflection around the transfers that are happening currently. Biggest transfer is that of Moses Schumer from Power Dynamos. Bwezani, are you here? Bwezani is not with us. Okay, so Aaron, you want to say something?
Yes, let's start this off. So yeah. Yes, so I think for me, there are two sides to this. There are people on the extreme end who feel like they should have kept Schumer, Power Dynamos, and there is me and the other bunch who are on the extreme end who feel like this is good business for Power Dynamos. I think the fact that it was wanted elsewhere in North Africa, I think that should have drove his price up. And I personally, I feel that this was probably his best season yet, and I don't think it's going to get better than this. I think this was the right time to cash in. I think they did well. I think and they've already secured Damien Ive as his replacement. Um, but there are those that feel that the fact that he did 21 goals in the league, it should have been somebody who they held on to for the CAF Champions League. They need to go find the CAF Champions League. Me and my other colleagues on the other far end feel like Amin Iva is a very good replacement and could take them very far in the CAF Champions League where they're going. So it's a 50-50 thing. But of course, for me, I feel it's good business. They cashed in, they got good money off Schumer. They should spend it wisely, get proper players, and not just spend like. I remember one time back, a team from the English Premier League sold a certain Coutinho and went and bought 11 players from Southampton. One of the worst business things I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, so they need to go and get quality players in there because this is a team that went to the group stage. Now they should be thinking of the quarterfinals, semi-finals as their next step. They need to be very ambitious. I know the guys in there have got a very good setup in terms of the executive, the likes of James Sakala, Chimbalang, and the like, the CEO Chalova. I think there's a lot of football brains in there to work around what they need to get to the next stage. Because at the point, I think in Zambia at the moment, I know most will try to argue and think Zanako is going to challenge them. At the moment, nobody comes close to them. Red Arrows are trying to push to get close, but they're still a bit of maybe 5 steps away from them. I think the challenge now is how do they translate their dominance here to continental level to push themselves. I don't think they're immediately going to be as good as Sundowns or Arkley and whatnot, but they could push themselves maybe to the quarterfinals next, maybe semifinals after that, eventually final, and who knows, maybe within the next 10 years, they could win the CAF Champions League. But that starts with proper planning, proper investment, and making the right decisions all around the team.
Okay, that's Aaron there. And if you're wondering what conversation we are on, is Moses Schumer leaving Power Dynamos, trekking down south, and of course, many others leaving, or others are being, of course, exchanged. What I mean is leaving from one club to another. And the big move currently is for Moses Schumer. 21 goals in the Zambian league, and he has trekked down south, going to South Africa. Let's bring in Musman. Musman, Power have failed to keep Moses Schumer. They will be playing in the CAF Champions League. Is it good business or letting go of a go machine in the name of Moses Schumer for money?
Look, we need to look at it this way. I understand Aaron is saying it's good business, etc. Sometimes it's not about the money, it's about winning the trophies at the end of the day. You know, if Moses Schuma left to go to Mamelodi Sundowns, if he left to go to Orlando Pirates, it's a different story. But he's going to Amazulu. And you're having one of your biggest teams in the country, losing a player to a small team like Amazulu. It's owned by a lady who's sponsored by Spa. Guys, it's insulting to our Zambian people.
Usman, what are you trying to tell us? Can't a lady run a football club?
I'm saying it's insulting to our Zambian people. Power Dynamos is owned by CEC.
Very disrespectful.
Power Dynamos is owned by CEC.
Most, sorry to cut you. I want to ask you a question. Most, but you are there. You know how much money South African football has. How much money does the winners of the league get? Probably the team that finishes bottom in the PSL gets more money than the champion of Zambia. So money-wise,
that's not the point. And by the way, half the teams here are spending more money to play in the Champions League. The prize money Mamelodi Sundowns gets, they give to their players. They just give to say, okay, here's some changes that we got for winning the league. But my point here is, if you go to Sundowns, if you go to Pirates, yes, I understand. Those are teams with value, stature, and financial muscle. You're not going to go to a team like Amazulu that is owned by a lady, that is sponsored by Spa or ShopRite. That's insulting to a team that's from Zambia that is owned by Copperbelt Energy. So you're telling me that Copperbelt Energy cannot compete with Amazulu? It's very insulting to our football as a country. This is the biggest, one of the biggest teams in the country. They always talk about when, you know, they won the Champions League when Shaka Zulu was crossing over and things like that. So they've got that stature. So for me, to lose a player like Moses Sima, who's come one season and dominated the Zambian, to lose a player like, a quality player like that, when you know you're going into Champions League, this is where Power Dynamos should have said to themselves, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to match whatever Amazulu is going to give you. And it's Amazulu, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget that it's Amazulu. It's not Pirates. You can't match what Pirates gives. You can't match what Sundowns gives, but you can match what Amazulu gives at any given point. This is a team where my favorite player, one of my favorite players, this is you see, this is what I'm saying. If you are listening to what I'm saying, I've been saying that Power Dynamos is run by Copperbelt Energy. They can be able to compete at any given point with teams like Amazulu. At any given point, they can compete with teams like Amazulu. It's very insulting that we have a top goal scorer and you're going into Champions League. You're about to go play some serious Champions League football. You've got someone who's already verified and we already know he's a goal scorer, and you let him go. It's all about the money. It's not about the money at any given point. So if CEC, let's say, get $1 million, for example, what are they now going to do? This same Amy guy that we brought, you know, that they've brought, the same to say, no, he's coming to replace because he's had maybe a couple of good goals and whatnot. That's not a replacement that's going to actually dominate things. It's now going to destroy the football club. So for me, the move is very disrespectful to Zambian football. Power Dynamo should have done better. At any given point, Power Dynamo should have done better. It has disrespected us as a nation to lose a player to Amazulu. You understand? It's like a Zanaco player leaving to go and play for Kafue Celtics. That's how insulting that is at any given point. It's like a Zanaco player leaving Zanaco to go and play for Nampundu. That's how insulting that is. Because at the end of the day, Power Dynamos, we are coming from Zambia. These are the biggest clubs in the country. To lose that player to go to Amazulu. is literally insulting. And Power Dynamos, I thought they had structure. I thought they had reached a point where they're saying we're now here to compete and we're here to now make sure that we do well in the Champions League, etc. We've made the group stages, etc. But with this behavior, they will go back to normal. They will go back to the power that we know that wasn't dominating the league for years on end, and I've only started dominating it now. They will go back to normal. This is the power that we know, and we've lost a player that's going to Amazulu in South Africa. Very insulting to Zambian football. And I think a lot of Zambians should come up and say to themselves, and go to Power Dynamos and say, how do you, even a Power Dynamos fan, Jones the other day is telling me that, financially, match that financial. We've got Numa Mamba who are paying $5,000. At the end of the day, even you guys can go and match that financial. You can go and match that financial issue at any given point. Moses Schuma is coming from a country where their football is not even that serious. He's come to Zambia and he's dominated it. And after him dominating, he should be proud to be in the country. Go and make him stay in the country, not to go to places like Amazulu. It's the same as going to Nampundu.
Musman there. Let's bring in Evaristo. Evaristo, your thoughts on the move concerning Moses Schuma?
Clean, I think looking at I'm told the guy had, looking at the length of the contract, it's better you cash in before you lose a player for free. And of course, it's difficult. Is Ambotivu Tabola Zambia. We can't, to be honest, we can't keep players like Schuma in our league because of Nkanian drama. Football is a career. At the end of the day, these players are looking for the figures. So if a better contract comes and you feel like maybe club monitor, maybe we need the money, why not sell him? Because at the end of the day, the fear is that the guy would have maybe stayed, I cannot start a new contract, and then he goes for free. So instead of letting a player go for free, sell him and get something out of it. It's unfortunate that we've lost the league top scorer. I would have loved to keep him, but to be honest, Zambian league ndarama mulipe. Now opportunities mulipe. At Amazulu, I know the guy has gone at Amazulu, but with his form, if he's going to maintain that form, 2 seasons or so, he might find himself at an Orlando Pirates or a Kaizer Chiefs or a Mamelodi Sundowns. Because we've seen even the likes of the Shalulides, they used to play, is it Highlands Park? They started somewhere there. So I think maybe in those angles, okay. For me, let me go to South Africa league that has got money, but of course, since I'm coming from the Zambian league, which is not maybe a well-known league as compared to South Africa, I'll start somewhere. In Zambia, then from Amazon, I'll grind my way up. So if he could have a player consistent, he might find himself at Pirates or maybe Chiefs or Sundowns. So for us, Chibaba that we've lost the league top scorer, would have loved him to be at Power Dynamos, help Power Dynamos maybe reach the group stages. But the problem is that our league doesn't have money, and when the guys with the money come, definitely we'll be left with no option. Just the same as the Tanzanian guys have been getting our best. Yes.
Are you saying CEC doesn't have money?
They have money, but they don't have money to burn on one player. Maybe Mr. Promise Amazon. We are not at that level anymore. Even Zesco United used to keep the likes of the Jesse Warriors because they used to get a lot of money. But right now, even Zesco United, they cannot. They can't pay those guys those huge amounts of money. Muri drama mbora Zambian league at the moment we can't afford to pay.
CEC, they've lost a player to a lady who's sponsored by Spa.
CEC might be a big company, but ask yourself, are they willing maybe to pay maybe Schuma to give him a $3,500 or a $4,000?
If Zanago can pay $5,000 to the coach, CEC can pay that amount of money. The point is that the league is supposed to be remaining competitive and substantial and sustainable. If we are now losing every good player, we are becoming the Tanzania that it is now. Zambia used to get players coming in from Tanzania or Malawi because they want to play in Zambia. But now we are exporting to these countries, which is a big problem. And for you to justify it, I'm finding it very, very, very shocking.
You know what is going to make us dig here to be more sustainable is when these companies pump in more money. We are going to keep our best players. But if we don't have the monies, to pay these guys, definitely they will go. Bazambo enda soche, because at the end of the day, football is it's a job like any other job. Just like you can leave your someone comes with a better offer, uzachoka hapo uzakaenda penal. So if the company wants to keep you, they're going to raise your salary. So it's bad. I would have loved that guy to stay. He's one of the great strikers. When he came, I doubted him, but he proved me wrong. He had good numbers in Kenya. I thought maybe he's going to struggle because I've seen guys with good numbers like that Rupia guy. He came with good numbers from Kenya. He struggled at Power Dynamos. I thought maybe he would also struggle, but when I watched Schumer, the guy was just impressive. He just reminds me of an informed Jesse Were. So him maintaining a change of form. Personally, for him, it's a good move going to South Africa. But for us as fans and us who want to see Power Dynamos grow and be competitive at CAF level, it's a loss. It's a very big loss. But unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do. We just have to up our game in terms of the finances. Otherwise, we're going to be losing players like that.
No, you can't say. The highest paid player at Amazulu is making about 80,000 rand a month. Are you telling me that in Zambia, this is the highest paid player at Amazulu? Not Orlando Pirates, Amazulu. They're paying him about 80K a month.
But
so
ask yourself how much you are paying Dynamos.
We cannot afford to give him. We cannot afford. CEC cannot afford to give him 80 or 90,000 kwacha or 100,000 kwacha a month. Are you telling me that? Because Amazulu, I think you guys are not realizing how small this team is.
So
when we're playing games of 30 pin, 40 pin. Are you telling me that Amazulu to be compared to a powerhouse in Zambian football, the champions of the Zambian league? Amazulu.
Have you also looked at it?
Let us talk also.
Okay, James. Yes, James, let's hear you. Yes, I'm done. Let's hear you.
Okay. For business, it's good for Power Dynamos. But for football, it's bad for Power Dynamos. So if Power Dynamos looked at business side of it, it's a good move. When he's still on teams, he's still on demand, and looking at the contract where it was, good business for Power, cash in, get your money. But for football-wise, we want to win, we want to be competitive. Bad decisions by Power Dynamos. You cannot release the same bad decision that just made Obanya and Haiva. For me, that was not good business. But for Power, it's good business that they cashed in for that guy. But for football-wise, where Power wants to perform in cup and everything, I think it was not wise to do that. So I understand both sides. Musi, I understand you. I think that Power Dynamos can lose a player to a team like Amazulu. When you look at Power Dynamos being a powerhouse for Zambian football, should not be competing against Amazulu. Should be competing with teams like Sundowns, teams like Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, yes, because those are the powerhouses. But if we're going to compete with small teams and they win our players, that speaks volume of our league, and that's downgrading our league. But when we come to the reality, our league has no money. A winner in South African league, how much do they get? Over 50 million rands, over 40 million rands. How much do you get in Zambia? 300,000 kwacha for winning the league. Your friends are getting 40 million plus for winning the league. You are getting how much? 300,000, 1, 2, 3.
Just
Presidential
preparation.
nominations batatu. So there's no money in our game. So if a team comes brings millions and you need to sustain the team, what do you do to make back and balance the books? You cash in. Let him go. You cash in than letting him go for free. So for football wise, it's bad. I understand you, Musi. I understand your point. 100%. You are right. But also, Evaristo, it's not wrong because when you come to the reality, some teams they spend 2 trips, that 300 is done. 2 trips for 2 fixtures, that 300 is done. So, and then you find someone who comes and say, "We'll give you money, maybe even to $1 million or what," and you look at what ZPL is going to give you. You cash in, Musi. So for business, good move, Power, proud of them. For business, it was a bad move for football. It was a bad move for Power, especially that we want them to compete. But business and the reality of Zambian football, 100%. I support Aaron and Evaristo. But for football-wise, in terms of where our league is, I support Musman. So both are right. It just depends where you are looking at it. But overall, for me, if it was money-wise, if the money was good and everything, we saw Man U at the time we needed Ronaldo. We sold him to Real Madrid. Money can speak also. We've seen clubs in Europe. No, but what I was just saying is, when money is involved, we've seen players who have left Liverpool going to Saudi Arabia, a useless team, for money. For money.
Those players are over 30 years old.
That is normal. So
those players are over 30 years old. But at the end of the day, those players are over 30 years old and they're going to end their careers in Saudi Arabia. The point here is that you guys are talking on a business point of view, etc. Power Dynamos are playing CAF Champions League. And if you look at the dynamics of Europe now that you want to bring into this conversation, you look at teams like Southampton, you look at teams like Wolverhampton. Those teams will not let their players go unless they have a significant amount of money that's going to be paid to them. They would actually keep that player. Now, a Power Dynamos player, one of the biggest teams in the country.
You haven't also looked at it on the player's point of view. Nanga mwine player nga senzo funa onkara enzo funa kuenda. Are you going to keep a player who doesn't want to stay?
Do we know that he didn't want to stay?
Hey, are you going to keep a player who doesn't want to stay?
Do we know that he didn't want to stay?
So player ngatafuno end and the man is right.
Certain players, like Moses Piri, for example, did not want to leave Zanaco to go to Simba at any given point. He put money on the table and said, "This is how much I want to get," and Zanaco didn't give him. If Moses Shuma put money on put his word on the table saying, "Give me this money, I'll go." Do you think? Okay, let me ask you this:
Moses Shuma wanted
a player wanted to leave Power Dynamos in the Champions League for Amazon?
Shuma wanted to go, and Power Dynamos were very wise. You cannot keep a player who's not happy.
Let's have one person at a time. The conversation is quite interesting. So let's have one person at a time.
Okay. We agree with you, Musi. The problem is, if it's issues of money, Zambian football doesn't have money. That guy, if Power Dynamos looked at a business point of view, they were right. They need money. Let money come in to continue running the club. But if we are talking of participating in the competition and you want to win leagues and everything, that was their best player. It was a wrong move to let him go if you want to compete. But if you need money more than the competition, you cash in as they did. What if he flops next season and then no one wants him when you want him to go?
I'm sorry, I disagree with you there. Because at the end of the day, under Kalusha Wale's administration, the prize money was 10,000 kwacha or some funny amount like that. And we were exporting players like Justin Shonga, Augustine Mulenga, going to Orlando Pirates. Those are the players we're exporting. So you can't come to me and tell me that it's about money, it's about money, it's about money, when the league prize money has always been low. And the highest came under Andrew Kamanga, which was 300,000. So at the end of the day,
listen,
these teams
under Kalusha Wale, it was actually 17.
But your
Yes, exactly
17
my
Musi, what
point.
you are talking
And
about is,
exactly my
listen,
point.
but
Okay,
life has become involving. The window transfers have gone crazy. You can longer get a player at a cheaper price the way it was.
let's do this. Let's
Football has
do
become
this.
expensive than that.
James, let's understand the dynamics around keeping a player, the dynamics around the team. So what is happening with Power Dynamos are dynamics of keeping a player. They are nowhere near the dynamics around the prize money. Remember that any team has to create its own opportunities for players. They are not making profit from the league price. They are not. Some certain teams get the league price and give players to share. So here, Power Dynamos, what are they trying to achieve? They have failed to keep a player. They have failed. They have failed to match what Amazulu has presented to the player.
Exactly.
Those are the dynamics, and they have let the player go. So I think that's where the argument Musman is basing on. So have they cashed in because they have failed to match what Amazulu is giving the player? So those are the dynamics that Zambian teams need to work on. Of all teams, Amazulu has beaten Power Dynamos in the needs of the player, and the player has agreed to go. If in any way they were interested around the player to keep him, they have to match what Amazulu has presented to the player. It's not about the league prize money, because teams are not making or playing profit around the league prize money. No. Opportunities around the team. They are going to make money out of the CAF Champions League. They are going to make money out of the player transfers. They are going to make money through different avenues. So, has Power Dynamos failed to match what Amazulu is giving the players? Yes, they have failed. So now, if we are going to look at that dynamic, I think we need to up the game, because teams like Power Dynamos, they should match up such, of course, dynamics. If a team of Amazulu comes to get a player and they know the importance of that player, they should be able to match up. They should be able to give the best to the player so that the player should not go. There was a chance that he wanted to go to Bakeni. That sounds better. But Amazulu, they have failed to match up Amazulu. So Power Dynamos, in short, have failed to equate what Amazulu is giving Moses Shuma. So please, let's consider those thoughts as well. The league prize, forget about it. It's just something to play for, because the league in Zambia 300 pin is 2 games, and it's done. So I thought that is very important to clarify. If any other further debate, we can continue. King.
Don't you think maybe the contract, the length of the contract had put Power Dynamos at disadvantage side?
How?
Yes,
Moses Shuma came in
a
last season.
contract is meant to be renewed under new terms and conditions. They have to present that to the player. And the player is there to play football, and they're looking at opportunities. So a player questions them, and a player says, I want to go. Why do you want to go? Because of these and these reasons. You negotiate. One good example is George Luandamina. When he wanted to go to Zesco United, we saw that Njanga Rangers matched up with what Zesco United wanted to give George, and he remained at the club. Teams need to create these opportunities amongst their staff, failure to which players, coaches will go. Musman has raised something interesting where Numba maybe is getting a 5,000. Can he go anywhere where it's less? They have to match up that. And if Zanaco is still interested in Numba, they will have to bid for what is coming in, because they are fighting for something that will bring profit by the end of the day. I think it's a weakness overall around Zambian clubs. So even if you're playing for 10 kwacha, but what are the opportunities? It's business, and the platform has to be functioning to what you want. It has to give you what you want. Otherwise, they'll be playing for loss. How many players are going and how many players are coming in? Because they can sell a player at $1 million, but how many players are they going to bring versus the profit that the players are going to bring by the end of the day? So we can carry on. I don't know if Evaristo you have something or Musman.
No, you're very spot on, and this is where this is where we are missing it. Power Dynamos is one of the biggest clubs in the country. They're the current champions of the Zambia Super League. You know, like I've said, it's okay if he goes to Sundowns. It's okay if he goes to Orlando Pirates, who are the current champions of the PSL. But to Amazulu, CEC, losing a player to Amazulu, and you guys are now trying to talk about financials, no, whatnot. Pay the player. Moses Shuma came to Power Dynamos because where he's coming from, could be Bola. It's actually a privilege for him to play in our country. At any given point, it's a privilege. So keep that privilege going on and say, we are going to match this thing for you. Zambia should not be a stepping stone for players to come in to just go somewhere else. We're supposed to be competing. Power Dynamos are going to the Champions League. And you're telling me that you're going to go with a player that's from Zesco United. That's not really prolific. Why not keep your player to say this guy has scored so many goals? Let's keep him and let's move forward with him. We're going to build a team around him. Moses Shuma has only been in our league one season. And you guys are talking contractual issues, maybe to come to an end, whatnot. I think he penned a 3-year deal or whatnot. Either way, it's very insulting to Zambian football. Very insulting to lose a player to Amazulu. Very insulting. And if we continue on this trajectory, just last week, I was praising Nchanga Rangers for saying, hey, you are not taking our coach. I said the dynamics of the league are changing because now smaller teams can now come in and say, you are not going to do this because we've got the finances to back up what we are talking about. But now, if we are now having a situation where big teams like Power Dynamos are unable to back up financially, then there's a problem in Zambian football. We go back to square one. Keep George Lwandamina, but let go of your best player in the country. That's a problem in itself. So you guys are saying business deal. What does CEC need the money for? They're pumping in money. What do they need the money for? Why should Shuma go to Amazulu? That finished luckily fourth. Over the years, their best player.
When Manchester say a player, what do they need the money for?
Over the years, their best player was Augustine Mulenga. Under Benny McCarthy, it was Augustine Mulenga. And Augustine Mulenga went to Amazulu from Orlando Pirates as a player that was finished. And you're taking your best player in Zambia to go to Amazulu. It's very insulting to a Zambian football. I'm sorry.
Aaron, you want to say something?
Most, it's just that you are missing the point. Towards the end, there's something said. We agree with you. There's a problem in Zambian football. The money is not enough. Even the teams that have a lot of money in Europe, even Real Madrid sell players. So they are selling Nico Paz. Real Madrid makes more money than anyone in the world. They are selling Nico Paz for 60 million to Como. Because they activated their 10 million buyback, whatever. But Como now figure out that Nico Paz is their best player. And Nico Paz, I think, feels better to stay in Como because he's getting his game time. He doesn't know if he'll get it at Real Madrid.
Who's the best player in Real Madrid?
So
who's the best player? Do you think Real Madrid is going to sell Vinicius Jr.? Do you think they're going to sell their best player to an Arsenal? You're talking about a player. You're talking about a player that sits on the bench, and they're selling him for 60 million. That's good business. If Shuma was sitting on the bench, that's good business. If you're selling him for Amazulu, but you don't come in to tell me that Mbappe is going to Arsenal, is going to Manchester, is going to Man City. You're not coming and saying that. You're telling me about a second string player that's going to Como. That's good business.
Can I speak? You've spoken. Can I speak? Okay. My point still remains. You are saying, what do they need the money for? That's why I was bringing in Real Madrid. Even Real Madrid, who makes the most money, still need the money. My argument, though, about Shuma is this. I agree when towards the end you said there is a problem. Yes, I agree there's a problem. There's no money in our football. That's something that we need to look at. That's where the problem is. Majority of the clubs are run as CSR, not as a business. So as CSR, you have limited amount of money that you can put in a CSR project. That's the point. If it's a business, if it's making its own money, there is no ceiling, so to say, as to how much money you can make as a business. So that's what the challenge is. I agree with you when you say then there's a problem. Yes, not even that there is a problem and it has been there for years. Our football is a joke. I agree with you on that point. We need proper money in our football. We've not, which player? Somebody was just was best player. And the best player
There's no team in the world that's going to always be 100% financially. There's no team in Zambia that's always going to be 100% financially. But to lose a player from your biggest club is my argument. The biggest club in Zambia, the current champions, to lose a player to Amazon. They're giving you examples of second string player that's going for 60 million. They're balancing their books. That's good business. That's what I'm telling you. But they're not going to sell Vinicius Jr. They're not going to sell Kylian Mbappe to a team that's in England because those are their best players at the end of the day. So even if Real Madrid, who are financially not good right now, even if they want to go and say, "Oh, we are not good," they will not sell Vinicius Jr. They will not sell Kylian Mbappe, but Zambia is going to sell.
I think
they
we
don't
have
have the money to
exhausted.
keep their best players. That's the point.
Hold it.
Didn't he leave? Kenneth Msonda was the best player. Didn't he leave? So why are you so asked about Shuma?
Hold it. I think we have exhausted the Shuma conversation. But anyways, he's not going to be part of the Zambia Premier League, either in the transitional league or the league next season. Moses Shuma will be an Amazulu player playing in the South African Premier League. The Get Up Show is all interesting conversation around Zambian football. And of course, those conversations is you to be part each and every day and share in your thoughts as well, which is really, really important to hear from you right on the Get Up Show. Gentlemen, time is not the best friend. We have been talking for the last 3 hours or so. We have to say our bye-byes. Darema. We have to say our bye-byes. Anyway, but we still have the World Cup up and running.
I'm asking for maybe just 5 minutes.
Okay.
We've 3 minutes just. We've talked about Shuma. Okay, so let's look at it on a broader perspective. Amin Iva is confirmed to Power Dynamo. The team, the club is yet to unveil. Nchanga Rangers have just released this, confirmed that 7 players have left the club. Stanley, I've forgotten his surname. Yeah, the defender. They have confirmed Abubakar Traore. 6 months in, Banas Gonga couldn't make any impact. Ifon Pepo from Zesco has left. Is a Nigerian midfielder. Akit Nchanga Rangers is left. Let's talk of Muhammad Samahohoro or something like that. Nigerian was also failed to act it. Gift Zulu has also left. So is Friday Sam. So there are 7, and then they've called back, I think 3 players. One of them is what's his name? Mlenga something. Is Gift Mlenga or something in midfielder, who is the older brother to Joseph Mlenga, the young right back who was nominated for Young Player of the Year and that was playing his first season in the Super League at Nchanga Rangers. Young right back, even got to the local national team that went for the 3 Nations tournament. Brilliant player. So his older brother was a midfielder who was on loan at Mutondo Stars at the successive loan. Is back at the club. So I'm very excited to see both of them in one starting lineup. I want to see the brothers play together. This is the only thing I'm looking to for the what are we calling the transitional season? Yes. So away from all that, Zesco United don't have a coach. They wanted George Rwandamina, but Nchanga Rangers have held on to him. So the Zamfut crew understands that they are looking to George Chirufya, but they have also posted the ad for the job, for the top job position, because they're also looking at a foreign coach to take over. So the decision will be made in the coming days for the top job at Zesco. There are a lot of movements around. Owen, what's his name? Owen Mwamba has left Frida Wanderers, is now at Red Arrows. Yet to be confirmed by Red Arrows, but the Zamfut crew understands that it's a done deal. He'll be a Red Arrows player come the transitional season. Tetani Gilbert has left Frida Wanderers. The club has confirmed, and the understanding from the Zamfut crew is that it's done deal at Zesco United. There are a lot of these players moving around. What's his name from Musa? Biston Banda will be moving with Mighty Frida Wanderers, and of course, Changa Rangers, Konkola Blades, all interested in his signature. Also, Bosta Sioma, who was at Mutondo last season, is on the move. His contract at Mutondo will be done next month. He'll be a free agent with Nchanga, with Green Buffaloes and Frida Wanderers fighting for his signature. So a lot of all these players will be moving around in the Zambia League. There's a lot that's happening in terms of the transfer season. So stay glued. Even next week we'll be back here for all these information. We'll be giving you all this great information about who's moving where when things are confirmed. But as usual, our teams leave it at the last minute to announce 15 players signed instead of announcing as they finish one player. One by one at least. Mwasaina players big as Iva. I don't know what that is about, but yeah. So the transfer season will be interesting. There's a lot that's happening in the background. Also, the Zamfut crew understands that Chipo Manda and what's his name? Elia Mandanji will not play at Zanaco in the transitional season. There are two clubs who are fighting for Elia Mandanji. A lot more to come next week about where Elia Mandanji might end up. He's leaving Zanaco that much. The Zamfut crew understands. So there's a lot that's happening in this transfer season. A lot. But also, yeah, remember next week we'll be back also to give you another update on what's been happening and where all these players are moving to. Banflira now, Bango Saina. There's a player that left. Is from Amasoka Academy in Kabwe. He was on loan at FC Leopards. He was just confirmed. The midfielder was just confirmed by Frida Wanderers. Was it yesterday or the day before? And also FC Leopards confirmed the departure of I think 11 or 12 players, including Emmanuel Chabula, Emmanuel Kutu, talk of who else? George Simbayamba has returned to Red Arrows. Who else has left? The number of players, I think 12 or so, who've left FC Leopards after being relegated to the National League. So yeah, that's what's happening in the transfer season. Thank you, Moses.
Okay, thank you so much, Aaron. Gentlemen, time not the best friend. I know the World Cup is up and running. Maybe in your closing remarks, especially on how your week is looking like, you can touch on the World Cup and just tell us how your week definitely will be. Starting with you, Aaron, I think.
No, I'll be the last one. I'm closing the show.
Aaron will be closing the show. Let's start with Tutu Evaristo.
Yes. Aaron, I think when Zoeba transfer was one of the guys I think who's received much interest from clubs. There's a wonder kid at Jumulo, Binotinho Musonda. Excellent boy. I think he's being traced by Zanaco, Konkola Blades, and I don't know what else. Should be Nchanga Rangers. Excellent boy. You see him, the boy. So Mzaka Muona akadulikira pa premier stage, but it's a very good midfielder. So coming back to my day, of course I'm looking forward to Ninkani ya World Cup. I'm just glad that African teams that we don't worry chimpwena World Cup papanomba. We've shown the world that we've come here to play. We've come here to compete. We haven't come here just to add numbers. So 7 out of 10 so far have qualified. Irangi is at Tirigo serious system. Looking forward for Congo or Algeria to join the other guys. Otherwise, World Cup, I'm still glued to the TV because African teams are making me proud. Thank you. There is Ankara Chekutamba Chebola. That's my say on the World Cup.
Thank you. Musman and James left, and I don't know if Milias is around to add them back. They have been making that request. Milias, it seems not to be available at the moment. As for me as well, I'll be just waiting for the game. Going for today. African teams doing Africa proud, and they have done tremendous job. Good job from Senegal. Cape Verde as well did a good job and outrightly qualifying a second in the group. So it's all about the World Cup. For now, we take it back to Aaron. I was hoping Busman and James will be added back. Aaron, over to you. You are closing the show.
Yes. Okay. Let's close it like this. So the weekend, my best friend is coming over maybe in an hour or two. We play some FIFA. Then after
you
that,
have to specify. You have to specify a best friend, a female best friend or a male best friend. We want to know.
I'm from the street. My best friend is a boy. You know him, Gabriel. That's my boy. Like 19 years, we've been doing this friendship thing. So yeah, that's my G. Coming through, play some FIFA. I'm from the street. My best friend is a boy, obviously. Yeah. So after the FIFA, after I beat him in FIFA as usual, I'll be watching some football. Obviously, the World Cup is on. The best player to ever leave scored a brace against Uzbekistan. He's taking on Colombia at 0-1-30. The only guy they talk about, whether he scores, he doesn't score, whatever is happening. Dembele scored a hat-trick yesterday, brilliant. For the first time, I remember that is a Ballon d'Or winner. That was brilliant performance, brilliant goals. But hey, nobody is even talking about it because it's not Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, so be watching the greatest to ever do it against Colombia at 0-1-30. Forget what you said, and always following what's happening in Zambian football. I've got a lot of transfer stories to write about, so stay glued to the Aaron Mwanga Junior War, and of course the Zamfoot crew and the website. A lot of news dropping there. So that's what we're doing. And of course, remember, this is the premier show for everything Zambian football. We are here every 8:30 to like 11, 12 hours. We are here talking Zambian football. We could go on and on and on and on and on. So always remember to come back here every week, every Saturday at 8:30 to like 11, 12 hours to talk about Zambian football. Everything you need to know. We have all the guys here. We've got Bozan Matebo is here with his tables. We've got our commentator and what do we call you? The what? The moderator of the show. My boy Moses Impundu. We've got Tutu, who knows every player that has ever played for Lone United. We've got Milias. We've got my boy James, who thinks Zescondola Girls is the best women's team in the world. While there is and the Foundation Girls. So see you next week. We are out, and remember, Cristiano Ronaldo is winning his first World Cup this year. Bye.
That's what you wanted.
Of course, the king is winning his World Cup. The people need to know. People need to know.